Chapter 218. Walking out of the Medicine King Hall, Qin Feng walked to the bottom of the stairs. His black hair fluttered in the breeze, and Qin Feng, clad in black, exuded a dignified aura. Behind him, some young experts walked out from the Medicine King Hall. Some of them took the initiative to greet him. After exchanging a few words with the group of 12, one by one, they bid farewell to Qin Feng and left. At this time, Qing Mu and Zhuo Song walked up side by side. Qing Mu asked as a trace of a smile appeared in his aged eyes. "Little brother, do you have your point token?" Qin Feng's eyes flickered, guessing that something good was about to come. Taking out a silver-white token as thin as a cicada's wing, Qin Feng casually tossed it to Qing Mu. This was the point token that every student of All Stars College could receive after enrolling. The front of the token was engraved with the words All Stars, while the back was engraved with countless secret runes. Glancing at the black-robed young man, Qing Mu casually caught it. With a flip of his hand, a golden token appeared in his palm. Qing Mu injected his spiritual imprint into his own token. A series of silver-white mysterious runes flew out from his token and fell into Qin Feng's silver token like a swarm of bees. After Qin Feng's token absorbed those mysterious silver runes, 3 bright silver lines appeared on the back of the token one after another. Then 2 golden stars lit up. In the blink of an eye, these bright lines disappeared. There was no sign of abnormality. Done. Qing Mu casually tossed the token to Qin Feng. Thanks. Qin Feng injected his spiritual imprint into the token, and a number appeared before his eyes. 533 points. 20 merit points. Obviously, the 3 silver lines represented 300 points, and the 2 golden stars represented 20 merit points. 300 points, 20 merit points. Although Qin Feng was mentally prepared, he still couldn't help sucking in a breath of cold air when he saw this number. No wonder those fellows were so polite to me before they left. It turns out that this sect mission is so lucrative. With a surprised look in his eyes, Qin Feng put away the token without any hesitation. At this time, there were only 4 days left before the 3-month comprehensive assessment period. Qin Feng did not choose to take the test immediately. What he gained from entering the True Dragon Cave this time was beyond his imagination. Even Qin Feng sensed that the 12th level of the gunmetal slaying sword art, which was originally a bottleneck, was beginning to loosen. Qin Feng wanted to try and completely comprehend the 12th level of the gunmetal sword technique before the 3-month assessment. Zhuo Song left that afternoon. Zhuo Song needed to establish the Mystic Association in the City of Stars. Zhuo Song had just arrived in the City of Stars, and there were many things waiting to be done. Many things needed to be presided over and communicated with by him, the president. At the same time, they also had to report to the main hall of the Mystic Association and submit some applications. Qin Feng stayed on the 7 Stars platform, staying in the side hall where he had gone into seclusion. This side hall was very quiet, and the 7 Stars platform was filled with spirit energy. Cultivating in seclusion here for a day was equivalent to cultivating in other places for 10 days to half a month. This was a huge side hall. It was a little remote, and the 4 walls were engraved with some legends of gods and demons. The dome was transparent, and the surroundings seemed empty. The curtains fluttered, and it was a little eerie. Qin Feng sat cross-legged on a futon in the main hall. With a thought, the North Underworld Divine Water Sword appeared and floated in front of him. In the 7 Stars Dragon Spring, Qin Feng had desperately absorbed the sacred dragon essence, and it was not for nothing. Other than his cultivation breaking through from the peak of the 11th firmament to the mid-stage of the 12th firmament, his soul had also undergone a qualitative transformation. At this time, his soul had been nourished by the sacred dragon essence, and it had already strengthened to a shocking realm. The most obvious change was his tyrannical 6th sense. Qin Feng originally controlled the North Underworld Divine Water Sword to fly 5 feet away from him, but now it could fly 100 feet away from him with ease. As everyone knew, the soul was the most difficult to cultivate. Without more than a dozen years of hard work, it was difficult to strengthen the soul by even a little. The tyrannical soul, powerful mental power, and powerful deduction ability. This was also where Qin Feng's confidence in comprehending the 12th level of the Golden Gung sword art lay. Qin Feng sat cross-legged, and a series of profound words of the Golden Gung sword art flashed in his mind. These words that were incomparably cryptic and difficult to him in the past actually became incomparably clear at this time. His comprehension speed of many profound meanings became faster. Qin Feng injected his mental imprint into the North Underworld Divine Water Sword, and the comprehension speed immediately increased by 30%. The North Underworld Divine Water Sword was a spirit sword, and it recorded some remnant traces of the Sword Master's comprehension of the Sword Tao. These remnant traces were remembered in the depths of the spirit sword. As long as one was diligent, it could become the most valuable treasure for the new Sword Master. 3 days later, a sword aura gradually appeared on Qin Feng's body. His entire person seemed to have transformed into an incomparably sharp divine sword. Gradually, 2 invisible swords suddenly appeared around him. These 2 invisible swords seemed to condense from the void. Then 2 turned into 4. It was as if the 2 invisible swords each separated into 4 invisible swords. Buzz buzz. The 4 invisible swords buzzed and vibrated. The 4 swords once again separated into 8 swords. The 8 invisible swords revolved around the black-robed young man who was sitting cross-legged. Qin Feng suddenly opened his eyes, and his gaze fell on the sword in the middle. The invisible sword moved and turned into a stream of light that spiraled and danced in the air within 100 feet. Qin Feng's eyes narrowed slightly, and the invisible sword turned into a ghastly white light that pierced through the air and slashed. Wherever he passed, the curtains hanging around the side hall turned into butterflies with a few poochie sounds, filling the entire hall. Qin Feng's eyes flashed with a cold light. The 8 invisible swords immediately turned into white lights that danced in a special trajectory like spiritual snake. Wherever they passed, the fragments that filled the air turned into threads. This method was close to a divine ability. The 12th level of the Golden Gung sword art was completed. Clap, clap, clap. Outside the hall, a burst of applause suddenly sounded. Elder Qing Mu's dignified figure appeared at the entrance of the hall. Qing Mu was originally meditating in the Medicine King Hall when he unexpectedly sensed the sudden burst of sword energy in the side hall. Thus, he rushed over to check. Thinking about the place where Qin Feng was in seclusion, Qing Mu already had some guesses in his heart. But seeing it with his own eyes, he still felt a wave of shock. Little friend Qin, congratulations on mastering the 12th level of the Golden Gung sword art. Elder Qing Mu. Qin Feng stood up. Waving his hand, he stopped Qin Feng from bowing. Qing Mu's face was full of smiles. Little friend Qin Feng, to be able to cultivate both little art of cloud and rain and Golden Gung slaying sword art to the 12th level within 2 months, even though you're not the first of your kind, but you're still one of the few that can be counted with one's fingers. You're indeed worthy of being the head of the Azure Dragon Academy. This year's Azure Dragon Academy's first seat, you are as stable as Mount Tai. Just as Qin Feng broke through to the 12th level of the Golden Gung sword art. In another abode in the herb garden, Wen Hong walked out of seclusion in high spirits. Seeing Wen Hong come out of seclusion, a young genius immediately went up to welcome him. Congratulations, little prince. Congratulations, little prince, for breaking through to the 8th level of the minor art of cloud and rain. The position of first seat will definitely be prince's. Another young man also laughed. To be able to cultivate the Golden Gung sword art to the 8th level and the minor art of cloud and rain to the 8th level in 2 months, senior apprentice brother one is indeed worthy of being a proud son of heaven. This Azure Dragon Academy's first seat naturally belongs to none other than Senior Apprentice Brother 1. This is the 4th update, the 5th update is about to reach 12. Please recommend me, please bookmark me. Chapter 219. All Stars College, in front of the examination main hall. Today was the day of the tri-monthly examination for the new students of All Stars College. This was also the first examination that the new students would face. If they passed the examination, they could compete for the seat of honor. If they didn't pass the examination, they would be eliminated and pack up and go home to have children. One was the sky, the other was the earth. Once they were eliminated from All Stars College, even if they returned to their families, they would become the laughingstock of their families and be shamed by everyone. This was something that all the youths couldn't accept. In the square in front of the examination main hall, the crowd was bustling with activity. Some people were loudly discussing while others were quietly whispering to each other. Some people appeared to have a card up their sleeves while others were pale and uneasy. Some people even fainted on the ground while others were expressionless. Each and every one of them had a different expression. Azure Dragon Academy's students were the last to participate in the examination. Black Tortoise Academy, Vermilion Bird Academy, and White Tiger Academy's first examination results were already out. Azure Dragon Academy's examination was in full swing. A large group of students had gathered outside waiting for the examination result. The crowd was discussing in low voices. Ji Huang is worthy of the title of Blazing Phoenix. Of the 2 foundational cultivation methods of the Alchemy Hall, the 3-part fire controlling art and single essence forging art, the former was cultivated to the 12th level of perfection, while the latter was cultivated to the 11th level by her. It can be said that she's the best in Vermilion Bird Academy. Isn't that so? The points from these foundational cultivation methods already add up to 17 points. It can be said that she's suppressing all the experts of Vermilion Bird Academy. Vermilion Bird Academy's geniuses are also a tragedy. They encountered such a strong head and were suppressed to the point that they couldn't raise their heads. I heard that the best result of Vermilion Bird Academy's 2nd place was only 14 points, a difference of 3 points. Unlike Black Tortoise Academy, they're true profound. I also heard that Black Tortoise Academy's examination is the most shocking. Black Tortoise Academy's head, Zhao Xikong, seems to have entered one of the 6 great secret realms, Peach Blossom Manor. Among the 2 basic cultivation methods, the 100 Flowers Sword Technique and the Essence Tempering Secret Skill, he has practiced the former to the 10th level and the latter to the great perfection. Altogether, he has 16 points. It's a pity that Chief Zhao Xikong seems to be unlucky. He met a nameless guy who pretended to be weak. This guy's name is Heaven Lord Liu. It is said that he entered the Sky Heart Island of the Black Ice Sea. There are 2 basic cultivation methods in the Black Ice Sea, the Black Ice Sword Technique and the Ice Condensing Technique. The Black Ice Sword Technique has been cultivated to the 12th level, while the Ice Condensing Technique has been cultivated to the 11th level. The Black Tortoise first seat has changed hands. The new head of the Black Tortoise sect, Heavenly Lord Liu? Du Pingxia, who had just arrived, was slightly stunned when he heard the news. Lu Chunyang walked over from the crowd. His expression was also unusually solemn. On the other side, Zhao Zhijing, Li Zhuang, Yu Yao, Yin Lihua, Zhou Yuxian, and the others had gathered together, forming a small group. Yu Hong stood in the distance with a cold expression. Since the incident at the Lingjian Peak, Yu Hong had distanced herself from this group of people. Beside him was a silent young man. This young man carried a sword on his back and looked a little haggard. This young man was Ao Fong. This time, the wind is blowing before the storm. There are so many talents and talents. So many people have obtained 16 or 17 points. Even the Black Tortoise first seat has changed hands. The one who spoke was Li Zhuang. The young man was a little calm. He only wanted to pass the test safely, not the head of the Black Tortoise sect. However, Li Zhuang was a little worried about Qin Feng. Don't worry. My brother is not an ordinary person. He won't be easily pushed down from the head of the Black Tortoise sect. Seeing the solemn atmosphere, Lu Chunyang grinned from ear to ear. At this moment, Bai Yun and Yun Mo walked over from the crowd. Du Pingxia's expression was a little strange when he saw the two girls. Bai Yun's eyes fell on Du Pingxia. It seemed that someone had not given up yet. Bai Yun snorted in her heart and looked gloomy. Bai Yun brought a very bad news. The White Tiger Academy's head of the Black Tortoise sect has changed hands. Everyone was startled. Du Pingxia gazed at the white clouds. Who took Yang Cheng's head of the Black Tortoise sect? Could it be Sword King Ling Dushu? Zhao Zhijing shook his head and said, "That's unlikely. I know Yang Cheng. This head of the Black Tortoise sect entered one of the 6 great secret lands, the Demon Sealing Tower. He cultivated 2 basic cultivation techniques, the art of clear heart and focus and the heaven-defying 7 Devil Blade, both of which have reached the 11th level. His points are 16. Ling Dushu entered one of the 6 great secret lands, the Sword God Villa. He cultivated 2 basic cultivation techniques, the ternary scenery sword technique and the undefeatable sword heart. Similarly, Ling Dushu cultivated these 2 cultivation techniques to the 11th level. His points are also 16. According to the rules of the Academy, the head of the Black Tortoise sect has priority if the points are the same. Therefore, Ling Dushu can't take away Yang Cheng's head of the Black Tortoise sect. Bai Yun glanced at Zhao Zhijing and nodded. This junior brother is right. This time, the one who shook Yang Cheng's head of the Black Tortoise sect was not Ling Dushu, but a nameless and mysterious person. This person is called Qi Ling. This Qi Ling was born in the God-forging valley and obtained 17 points alone. She suppressed countless geniuses in the White Tiger Academy and became the new head of the Black Tortoise sect. Another nameless and mysterious person? Previously, it was Lu Tianjun. This time, it is Qi Ling. They are all nameless and low-key. Opening his mouth, Li Zhuang suddenly remembered some of the rumors circulating in the All-Stars College and sucked in a breath of cold air. Could it be that these people are all from the Xingqian school? Zhao Zhijing looked worried. I'm afraid that's the case. These people are here for the 4 heads of the All-Stars College. The heads of the 4 academies, the Tortoise Academy and the White Tiger Academy, have changed hands one after another. Ji Huang the head of the Vermilion Bird Academy, is too powerful. No one is interested in her. I'm afraid that the remaining people will set their eyes on the Azure Dragon Academy's head of the academy. All of them had solemn expressions on their faces. These elite disciples from the various peaks of the Star sect had come for the chief seat of the 4 great academies. With a trace of worry in her beautiful eyes, Bai Yun sighed softly. I once heard from some senior brothers of the Xingqian school that there are not only 2 or 3 people from the Xingqian school coming to the All-Stars College. There are at least 4 or 5 people from the 4 academies. There are only 2 people from the Tortoise Academy and the White Tiger Academy. I'm afraid that the remaining people are all in the Azure Dragon Academy. Many people have set their eyes on the Azure Dragon Academy's head of the Azure Dragon Academy. After all, junior brother Qin Feng's cultivation is at level 8 of the martial arts path. In many people's eyes, he is a pushover. Suddenly, boastful news came from the entrance of the Great Hall. Big news! Big news! Young Master Wenhong, the little prince of the Cloud Water Empire, has been appraised as level 8 of the little art of cloud and rain and the gung metal sword technique, have both been appraised as level 8 of the little art of cloud and rain. The best student donation competition has come to an end. The results are too horrible to look at. Following this announcement, the crowd burst into laughter. Who is it? Who is talking nonsense? Who dares to laugh at our little prince? Someone in the crowd shouted at the top of his lungs to stop the laughter. However, this could not stop the laughter of the surrounding geniuses. In front of the great hall, Wen Hong, who was wearing a purple robe and a purple gold crown, walked out of the great hall with a pale face. He was extremely disappointed and hesitant. In his heart, he had already determined that this result would allow him to get that position as he wished. He never thought that there would be so many geniuses in this year's competition. There were countless people who had 10 points, and those who had more than 10 points were like carps crossing the river. He, Wen Hong, was indeed a genius, but he was only a genius from the Cloudwater Empire. In the All-Stars College, he was only one of the most ordinary students. Same as before. The second update will be in the morning. The third update will be at noon. The fourth and fifth updates will be in the afternoon or evening. Please recommend me, please collect me, please reward me. Chapter 220. Zhao Zhijing looked at the scene and laughed. This Wen Hong is the son of a noble. His heart is higher than the sky, but his life is thinner than paper. Du Pingxia sneered. The son of a noble, if you throw a brick in All-Stars College, you can hit a few princes and princesses. Du Pingxia was a princess of a country, so she knew about this. Wen Hong was arrogant and thought that this place was still the land of the Cloudwater Empire. He was arrogant, and he drove his carriage. In the eyes of many geniuses, Wen Hong's performance was like a clown. Zhou Yuxian's eyes fell on Wen Hong with a trace of pity. I think he might not be able to stand up after suffering such a blow. Li Zhuang was very calm. This is normal. Who wouldn't feel disappointed after entering All-Stars College? Li Zhuang smiled bitterly. When he was accepted into All-Stars College with the cultivation of the fourth heavenly layer, he was happy because he thought that he had finally made it. However, after entering All-Stars College, he realized that the fourth heavenly layer was the lowest level of existence. This sort of contrast almost caused him to lose control of his mental state and be unable to recover from the setback. Lu Chunyang, Yu Yao, Yin Lihua and the rest had bitter mouth. They were the same. The more they knew about All-Stars College, the more they knew how terrifying All-Stars College's background was. Bai Yun and Yun Mo looked at each other with worried expressions. I wonder how Junior Qin Feng's results are this time? Will he be able to keep his position as the Azure Dragon head? At this moment, a commotion broke out in front of the examination hall. Good news, young Master Li Qiubai's Triorigin Scenery Sword Art was appraised to be at the 10th level, Undefeatable Sword Heart appraised to be at the 9th level, with a total score of 13 points. Breaking news, young Master Lu Kenyang from God Crafting Valley's Thousand Tempering Technique appraised to be at the 10th level, Heavenly Flame Transformation Technique appraised to be at the 11th level, with a total score of 15 points. Hot news, young Master Xiao Yuchan from Peach Blossom Manor has a total score of 16 points, 100 Flowers Sword Art appraised to be at the 10th level, Essence Tempering Secret Technique appraised to be at the 12th level. 3 pieces of news in a row, each more explosive than the last. Many geniuses from Azure Dragon Institute were shocked, unable to control themselves for a long time. 16 points. Du Pingxia's expression was extremely solemn. Xiao Yuchan had always kept a low profile. This time, he indeed amazed the world with a single brilliant feat. 16 points. Especially the last Essence Tempering Secret skill, which he had cultivated to the 12th level. Du Pingxia's eyes couldn't calm down. Even if it was her, the total score of the 2 courses was only 15 points. This Xiao Yuchan's points are actually so shocking. Zhao Zhijing, Li Zhuang, and the others looked at each other. From the bottom of their hearts, they were worried about Qin Feng. Qin Feng's position as the head of the Azure Dragon Academy had already become precarious. The competition for the Azure Dragon Academy's head seat this time is unexpectedly fierce. In the distance, Ji Huang Er's gaze swept over, searching for that person's figure. A group of geniuses from the Vermilion Bird Academy gathered around Ji Huang and a large circle of young elites surrounded her. The core group was Tuoba Yi, Shangguan Yun, Fu Yifei, and other geniuses. There were even some young elites from other academies. Each and every one of them was valiant, elegant, overbearing, indifferent, and noble. Ji Huang was one of the top 10 beauties of the All-Stars Academy. She had countless pursuers, and there was no lack of upper-year heads among them. Looks like the Azure Dragon Academy's head seat will also change hands this time. Gu Yun's expression was indifferent, and there was an indescribable elegance in his expression. He carried a spirit sword on his back, looking valiant and exuberant. The gazes of many beautiful young girls in the plaza faintly fell on him. Tuoba Yi crossed his arms in front of his chest. His bronze skin was bulging, and the large sword on his back was taller than a person. "This is very normal, what's so strange about it?" Tuoba Yi said indifferently. "The Azure Dragon Academy's head seat, Qin Feng, is strong in battle. His strength is only at the 8th celestial layer of the martial path. This time, the Academy's assessment is based on comprehension, aptitude, opportunity, and even one's willpower. In this kind of comprehensive assessment, he is at a disadvantage. Losing the Azure Dragon Academy's head seat is not strange." Ji Huang's figure flashed, and a red figure appeared in the crowd. She glanced at the two of them and shook her head. "You two underestimated him too much. Qin Feng is very mysterious. He won't be that simple." At this time, there was another news from the examination hall. The Sword God Villa's expert has appeared. Yuan Daozhen, who is known as the Little Sword Saint, has finished his assessment. Trisource Scenery Sword Art 11th layer, Undefeatable Sword Heart 12th layer, a total of 17 points. It's Yuan Daozhen. His total points actually broke through 17 points. Bai Yun, Yun Mo, Du Pingxia, and the rest were silent. Qin Feng was really mysterious this time. The Azure Dragon Academy's change hands was destined. 17 points, even in the other 3 academies, this kind of points was enough to be a head seat. Yuan Daozhen shocked the world with a single brilliant feat. It's a pity for Qin Feng. Du Pingxia closed his eyes. Zhao Zijing, Li Zhuang, Yu Yao, and the rest were completely silent. A trace of sadness appeared on Bai Yun's beautiful face. Bai Yun is worried for Qin Feng once the chief seat is taken away. Even though Qin Feng would still be a 5th grade inner disciple, the Scarlet Sky Peak would be lost. It was common knowledge that 5th grade, 6th grade, and 7th grade disciples were not qualified to enjoy the benefits of Ling Mountain. The only ones who could stay in Ling Mountain's blessed land were the heads of the various academies, or they could use their points to purchase a rental. In less than an hour before the main hall, another explosive piece of news came. Another 17 points, a mysterious person called Zhang Sun Huia obtained 17 points. Like the Little Sword Saint Yuan Daozhen, he also came from the Sword God Villa. His Trisource Scenery Sword Art is also at the 11th layer, and Undefeatable Sword Heart is at the 12th layer. Du Pingxia and the rest looked at each other and understood that this Zhang Sun Huia was also from Xingchen School. Du Pingxia's face was numb. They no longer had any hope. Another 17 points, the third 17 points from the Azure Dragon Institute, has appeared. Another piece of news fell into the crowd like a cannonball, causing a huge uproar. The plaza of the examination hall was in an uproar. Could it be that all the top geniuses of All Stars College had gathered in the Azure Dragon Institute? This was already the third 17 points. The other 3 academies added together would not be comparable. Right at this moment, a teenager ran out from the entrance of the examination hall, covered in sweat. His face was filled with shock and astonishment. It's here, 18 points, 18 points. What? In the plaza of the examination hall, everyone's gazes fell on the teenager. The teenager raised his voice and shouted, 18 points that no one has ever obtained before. The Glacier Fairy, Lu Qingxue, from the Mirror Lake Palace, has cultivated both the Trisource Scenery Sword Art and Nirvana Ice Heart to the 12th layer of perfection. She has a total of 18 points. There is no doubt about the competition for the Azure Dragon Institute's head seat. It will be the Glacier Fairy, Lu Qingxue. It's still 5 updates. This is the first update, the second update at noon, the third and fourth updates in the afternoon. Looking for recommendation tickets, looking for collection. Chapter 221. Rumble. This news was so deafening that the entire examination square became silent. Everyone's mind was buzzing. Their faces were filled with shock. 18 points. 2 advanced stage, spiritual martial force techniques had reached the 12th stage in 2 months. What kind of talent was this? How terrifying! At the entrance of the examination hall, a young girl walked out. This was a stunning young girl. Her entire body was filled with a wave of ice-cold air, as if she was a fairy that had walked out from the sea of ice. She hugged her zither and her beautiful face was cold. As soon as she appeared, she attracted everyone's attention. This was a beautiful young girl whose temperament and appearance were not inferior to Ji Huang. Numerous gazes fell on her body with shock and amazement. This is the Glacier Fairy, Lu Qingxue? 18 points. This is already the full score of the 2 technique. There is no suspense in the competition for the Azure Dragon Institute's first seat. Indeed, the Azure Dragon Institute's first seat has changed. Azure Dragon Institute's first seat, Lu Qingxue. Azure Dragon Institute's first seat, Lu Qingxue. Among the crowd, some of Lu Qingxue's admirers burst out with fanatical shouts. As soon as Lu Qingxue appeared, she attracted the gazes of countless youths. As if the crowd was infected, many of the Azure Dragon Institute's geniuses joined the shouting team. The momentum was great. Their voices went straight to the sky. At this moment, a figure walked over from afar. In a few steps, he arrived at the entrance of the examination hall. Looking down at the noisy crowd, he let out a shout. Everyone be quiet. This was a middle-aged man. He had a square face and a dignified gaze. His voice was not loud, but it penetrated the entire examination hall. The square quieted down as numerous gazes fell on this middle-aged man. It's Elder Yin, the one in charge of the examination. Some people recognized his identity and whispered to each other. Below the stage, Lu Qingxue, Ji Huang and the others' gazes fell on this elder with confusion. Elder Yan's gaze swept across the many geniuses in the square. His expression was indifferent. Finally, his gaze fell on Lu Qingxue as a trace of regret flashed across his eyes. After a moment, Elder Yan raised his head and announced, "The Azure Dragon Institute's first seat has been decided. Don't cause trouble here." Hearing this, some experts nodded and said to their friends, "As expected, the Azure Dragon Academy's head seat has already changed hands this time. Lu Qingxue truly deserves it. Chief Lu! Chief Lu! Chief Lu!" Voices gradually rose from the crowd. The eyes of the youths were filled with passion as they erupted into cheers one after another. Lu Qingxue's expression was calm, Ji Huang-er's expression was regretful, Lu Chunyang was silent, while Su Fei, Qin Tianjiao, and the others were overjoyed. "Qin Feng, I bet you didn't expect this day to come, did you?" Qin Tianjiao and Xue Fei celebrated together. Elder Yan's mouth twitched when he saw this. These people seemed to have misunderstood him. "Quiet!" Elder Yan shouted. The square quieted down again. Elder Yan was expressionless. This time, the Azure Dragon Institute's head seat is still Qin Feng. Qin Feng's head seat's 2 cultivation methods, Minor Art of Cloud and Rain and Golden Sword Art, have both reached the 12th stage of perfection. According to the rules of All Stars College, with the same number of points, the head seat has the priority to be the head seat. When these words came out, the whole square fell silent. Many youths opened their mouths wide, as if their shouts were stuck in their throats. Qin Feng, 2 cultivation methods at perfection, a total of 18 points? Holding the head seat for a second time? Was there a mistake? Everyone's gaze fell on Lu Qingxue. Lu Qingxue was expressionless, but if one paid close attention, one would notice that the veins on the hand holding the zither were popping out. Some of the youths who were shouting happily just now lowered their heads and looked at the floor. Awkward. How awkward could this be? Ji Huang-er's mouth twitched as her gaze fell on Lu Qingxue. She admired Lu Qingxue's calmness. She could remain so calm in such an awkward situation. Tuoba Yi and Shangguan Yun looked at each other. They looked at each other and noticed the blush on each other's face. The Azure Dragon Institute's exam had turned into a farce. The result was out of everyone's expectations, especially the geniuses from Xingchen School. These geniuses from Xingchen School did some research before coming to All Stars College. The Azure Dragon Institute had always been weak. Although Qin Feng was the head seat, he was only at the 8th level of the martial path. So this time, many elites from Xingchen School chose the Azure Dragon Institute, but they didn't expect to kick an iron plate this time. In the distance, in a corner of the examination hall, Qi Ling-er and Lu Tianjun looked at each other and suddenly burst into laughter. Zhang Sunhuya and Ning Heng looked gloomy. Lu Qingxue's eyes became colder. Qin Feng, Lu Qingxue, will not forgive you in the Hidden Dragon ranking battle. Scarlet Sky Peak's Jade Water Cave. Beside the Heavenly Lake, willows rustled in the wind, and some elegant flowers decorated the lake. There was a small bridge over flowing water, and there were pavilions and terraces. There was a garden here with some pavilions and terraces. Standing on the platform, the black-robed young man's black hair danced in the wind as he stood there. Qin Feng's eyes fell on a bottle of spirit pills in his hand. It was a bottle of soul-refining pills. The soul-refining pill was a top-grade elixir. It could be said that it was a replacement for the Jade Spirit Pill. However, compared to the Jade Spirit Pill, the soul-refining pill was much more valuable. 200 points and 5 merit points could only be exchanged for one bottle. Qin Feng exchanged for 2 bottles in the contribution hall and almost went bankrupt. Looking at the 2 bottles of elixirs, Qin Feng felt a toothache. Since reaching the middle stage of the 12th level of the martial path, Qin Feng realized that the Jade Spirit Pill, a precious elixir that could help ordinary martial artists break through to the Meridian's condensation stage, was useless to him. The only replacement was the soul-refining pill. 2 bottles of soul-refining pills, 400 points. Qin Feng smiled bitterly. The only fortunate thing was that with these 2 bottles of soul-refining pills, it was enough to push the 12th level of the martial path to the 13th level of the martial path. Casually putting away the soul-refining pill, a thin book appeared in Qin Feng's palm. First level of the Art of the Chaos Star. This was the first level of the All Stars College's introductory cultivation method. Only after passing the comprehensive assessment 3 months after the new students would they be able to obtain this cultivation method. This was what Elder Qing Mu had sent someone to give to Qin Feng when Qin Feng left the 7 Stars platform. At the same time, Elder Qing Mu also told Qin Feng that the next head's comprehensive assessment would be in 6 months. Within 6 months, Qin Feng must condense the natal star mark. Qin Feng's dark eyes fell on this cultivation method. According to the cultivation method, condensing the natal star mark was the foundation of all the true teachings of the All Stars College. The first step to condensing the natal star mark was to establish a connection with a star in the 9 heavens galaxy. If one day one could obtain the true name of this star, then the first step would be considered completed. This step seems simple, but it was actually very difficult. Many of the previous All Stars College's geniuses were blocked at this stage. The 9 heavens galaxy was far above the heavens, and the 9 star rivers hung down. Although they could be clearly seen on the mountain peak every winter night, they were far away on the horizon. Separated by such a long distance, it was extremely difficult to sense the natal star. This is the second update. the third and fourth updates are in the afternoon. A new volume of Natal Star has begun. Everyone can guess what star Qin Feng's natal star is, and guess that the author is sending red packets in the group. Finally, please recommend it, please collect it. Chapter 222. Billions of Stars, 9 Galaxies Spanned Across. Qin Feng's eyes scanned through this Art of the Origin Stars book. According to this book, the galaxy was divided into 9 layers. To sense the natal star imprint, the first layer was the first layer. From the first layer, one had to find a natal star and condense the natal star imprint, then nurture a star body and raise the star's position. If one could raise their natal star from the first layer to the 9th layer, they would be able to create an immemorial ancestral star and advance to the star demon god body. Everything described in this cultivation method was perfect. Qin Feng closed his eyes and pondered. There was no doubt that if he could condense a star imprint and nurture a natal star, it would bring incomparable benefits to his cultivation. The billions of stars in the sky had accumulated an immeasurable amount of astral energy. If he could use his natal star as a springboard, even if he could absorb a trace of it, it would speed up his cultivation by several times. Not to mention becoming the lord of an immemorial ancestral star. If one day his natal star could be promoted to an immemorial ancestral star, even if his body was destroyed, he could use the position of a star lord to be reborn. All kinds of thoughts flashed through his mind, but in the next moment, Qin Feng shook his head. The most important thing now was how to sense the star's true name and find the natal star that was related to him. Qin Feng's eyes fell on the cultivation method. He carefully read this Art of Primeval Chaos Stars several times. After checking that there was no mistake, he burned the booklet. When they received this booklet, all Stars College's disciples swore an oath to an ancient existence that they could not spread the book without permission. Otherwise, they would be punished by the heavens. Qin Feng was deep in thought. According to the records in the Art of the Origin Stars, every cultivator only had one natal star in their life. As for how to find a natal star, the Art of the Primordial Stars recorded a method called the Star Sensing Divine Technique. According to the book, a talented cultivator could comprehend the true name of their natal star within 7 days. Secondly, they could comprehend the true name of their natal star within 36 days. Secondly, he could comprehend the true name of his natal star within 49 days. In the worst-case scenario, they would only be able to comprehend the true name of their natal star within 81 days. If he still couldn't comprehend the true name of his natal star within 100 days, it meant that he wasn't suitable to cultivate the Art of the Origin Stars. All Stars College's requirements weren't low. They had to reach the first level of the Art of the Origin Stars within 60 days. And sensing one's natal true name was only the first step. Time was tight. Narrowing his eyes slightly, Qin Feng recalled the secret technique of the Star Perception Divine Art. As far as Qin Feng knew, the star-sensing divine art was a secret technique on how to use spiritual energy to sense the stars in the sky. Through meditation, he could sense the starlight emitted by the 9 heavenly layers. Finally, he could communicate with a certain star in the 9 heavenly layers and learn the star's true name. As night fell, the 9 galaxies in the sky emitted faint starlight. Raising his head, Qin Feng's pitch-black eyes looked at the jade-like galaxy in the sky. According to the expert who wrote The Art of the Origin Stars, the 9 heavenly layers had 9 layers. What a martial artist could see with their naked eyes was only the first layer of the 9 heavenly layers. Qin Feng closed his eyes and operated the star-sensing divine art. According to the method of the star-sensing divine art, he emptied his mind and entered a realm that was neither empty nor empty. Qin Feng's mental power was concentrated to a certain point. Qin Feng seemed to have broken through a layer of hazy barrier and entered a mysterious realm. An invisible light appeared in front of his eyes. This was the light of the stars. A long river of stars appeared in Qin Feng's field of vision. This river of stars was boundless and had no end. It was indescribably grand and majestic. Qin Feng felt his state of mind floating up, entering this astral river. He transformed into a beam of light that shuttled through the astral river, roaming about. Qin Feng sensed a star in the distance. It was in the shape of a battle axe. This was the battle axe star. If he could take this star as his natal star, he would have endless strength. Qin Feng hesitated. According to the art of the origin stars, if he could sense the true name of this star, he could refine it into his natal star. However, if it was a perfect match for his natal star, there would definitely be a resonance. Qin Feng didn't feel a trace of attraction from this star. Qin Feng didn't want to become a muscle man who used axes. With a flash of light, not long after, Qin Feng sensed another constellation in the form of a green willow. This was the green willow constellation. If he could use this constellation as his natal constellation, he would be able to gain extraordinary vitality and his body would become extremely soft. Qin Feng felt that this star was very effeminate. If he fused with this star, his body would become soft and his skin would become white. Bang! The star had a spirit. In an instant it sensed Qin Feng's undisguised disgust. It immediately turned into a beam of green light and disappeared into the river of stars. "You hate me!" As if feeling the grievance of the green willow star, Qin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Turning into a beam of light, Qin Feng traveled through the river of stars. Not long after, another star appeared in front of him. This star was in the shape of a long snake. This was the heavenly snake star. Qin Feng clearly sensed that this heavenly snake star was a star with a master. An expert had condensed this star into a natal star. Qin Feng saw that there was a long snake-shaped mark on the core of the star. If Jiang Fei condensed this star into a natal star, he would have to defeat the original Star Lord and forcibly refine this star. Obviously, Qin Feng didn't have that ability. Qin Feng could very intuitively feel that that Star Lord was very strong. Moreover, that Star Lord seemed to have sensed that someone was spying on his natal star. A very unpleasant aura was emitted. It was fierce and fiendish. The entire star transformed into a terrifying heavenly snake. It raised its head and looked at Jiang Fei with cold eyes. Qin Feng sucked in a breath of cold air and hurriedly left. On the Seven Stars platform of the Medicine King Hall, a young man with a cold expression and wearing a silver battle suit suddenly opened his eyes. Two terrifying beams of light shot out from his eyes. The young man's expression was grave. "Who is it? Who is spying on my heavenly snake star? Could it be that a powerful nebula beast has its eyes on my heavenly snake star?" After encountering this unfriendly heavenly snake star lord, Qin Feng encountered several other stars with masters. These stars were all strange. There were hammer-shaped ones, mantis-shaped ones, 100-bird-shaped ones. Qin Feng even saw a brick-shaped star. This brick-shaped star lord was very wretched. His natal star imprint was like a woman's crotch. Qin Feng also didn't expect that there would be such a wretched person in this world. After an unknown amount of time, Qin Feng had seen nearly dozens of stars, but he was still not satisfied. Some of these stars had too simple attributes, and some had too little strength. However, there were a few stars that Qin Feng was very tempted. But they had masters. Qin Feng couldn't beat those vicious star lords. Suddenly, Qin Feng moved. A faint, attractive force came from a huge star in front of him. Could it be that the opportunity has arrived? Secretly happy, Qin Feng raised his head. However, with just a glance, Qin Feng's eyes went straight. Qin Feng couldn't imagine that he would actually resonate with such a star. A tortoise-shaped star emitting green starlight appeared on the horizon. Green tortoise star? There is an update after midnight. Please recommend it, please bookmark it, please reward it. Many group members are asking for the group number. The group number is 531297875. Chapter 223. It was a tortoise-shaped star that was emitting green light. This was the green tortoise star. If one could refine the green tortoise star as their natal star, they would obtain exceptional defensive capabilities. Furthermore, the green tortoise star was of the water attribute, which was very suitable for Qin Feng. Qin Feng guessed that the green tortoise star might have a part of the black tortoise bloodline that he had refined. Qin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He possessed the black tortoise bloodline and could actually resonate with the green tortoise star. Qin Feng was a little hesitant. Should he refine the green tortoise star as his natal star? Qin Feng didn't care about the appearance of the green tortoise star. Strength was the most important thing. Suddenly, a whirlpool appeared around him. His vision turned black and he felt dizzy. Qin Feng was like a fish that was suffocating as he suddenly opened his eyes. It was daybreak. Qin Feng raised his head. At this moment, a scarlet moon appeared on the horizon. The faint red light dispersed all the starlight. During the day, the sun-star's light was too intense. The sun-star's power interfered with all the stars and he couldn't use the star perception divine art. Qin Feng shook his head and sighed. Qin Feng knew that he might miss this green tortoise star forever. Cave Master! On the flower island beside the lake, Luan Xiaochuan ran over as fast as lightning with a jade plate in his hand. Qin Feng raised his head and his gaze fell on this clever young man. Luan Xiaochuan's body was covered in mist and there was frost between his eyebrows. It was obvious that Luan Xiaochuan had been waiting for a long time. On the jade plate were some freshly picked spirit fruit. The skin of the fruits was plump and fresh. Spirit chi flowed around them and they were very attractive. Cave Master, you must be tired after cultivating for an entire night. Have some fruits. Luan Xiaochuan's face was respectful and his eyes were bright. Compared to the forced attentiveness of the previous 3 months, this time, it was respect and admiration from the bottom of his heart. Put down the jade plate. Qin Feng nodded with a smile in his eyes. Luan Xiaochuan was delighted. He put down the jade plate and quietly retreated. At this moment, the sound of wings flapping came from the willow tree. A naked bird flapped its wings and landed on the willow tree. Croak! He flapped his wings with all his might and Lord Ba barely managed to avoid falling into the lake from the sky. Little 8, you are too fat. Qin Feng's eyes revealed a trace of helplessness. This strange bird had been living in seclusion these days and was getting fatter and fatter. His wings fluttered wildly as Lord Ba shrieked. Croak, croak, Brother Feng, is it okay for you to mock such a generous and handsome bird? Qin Feng sneered. You're handsome. Let's talk about it after you grow out your hair. Lord Ba's arrogant expression instantly turned into one filled with sorrow. Brother Feng, don't hit a bird in the face, and don't expose a person's shortcomings. Little 8 is so sad. Alright, don't be so talkative. How's the little fox doing recently? Lord Ba became spirited, and the ahog on his head trembled in the wind. Brother Feng, you're right. That little fox is addicted to stealing sealwort. It goes to the spiritual garden almost every day to steal a sealwort. It probably guessed that you let it do whatever it wants, so it has moved its nest to a herb bush near the spiritual garden. Lord Ba's beady eyes twinkled as he smiled wretchedly. Brother Feng, do you want me to do something to the sealwort? I recently learned a skill. As long as I, Lord Ba, make a move, I guarantee that the little fox will suffer a great loss. What skill did you learn? Qin Feng looked at this strange bird in amazement. Lord Ba smiled wretchedly as if his scheme had succeeded. Brother Feng, I, Lord Ba, will show you now. Seeing the strange bird's wretched smile, Qin Feng knew that something was wrong and quickly shouted. Wait. However, it was too late. Lord Ba opened his beak and a light yellow smoke came out of his beak and enveloped Qin Feng. An indescribable stench came out, as if he had collected old gold in a vat for several years. Qin Feng's face twisted and he almost fainted. Qin Feng tried to use his Xiantian True Qi to seal all the acupuncture points, but there was still a disgusting smell in his heart. It was as if it directly polluted the depths of his soul. His tyrannical cultivation was enough to kill a powerhouse of the Meridian's realm, but under the light yellow smell, he could do nothing. Qin Feng tried to disperse it with water vapor, but it was useless. After half an hour, Qin Feng stared at the wretched bird on the branch with a green face. Although this disgusting smell could not hurt people, it gave people a feeling that they would rather die. Qin Feng gnashed his teeth and said, "Little Ba, come here. Brother Feng." Lord Ba knew that he was in trouble. He turned around and flapped his wings to fly away. Qin Feng clawed at the air, and an invisible force caught the wretched bird. Soon, Lord Ba's sharp cry came from the place where he stood. "Don't pull out the feathers, don't pull out the feathers, Brother Feng, I was wrong, don't pull out the feathers." After half a day, Lord Ba turned around and left, but before he left, he looked at Qin Feng with a sad face. The tail feathers that he had painstakingly grown out had left his butt. The butt of the bird was bald and ugly. Qin Feng pondered on the spot. Lord Ba, this little cunning bird, was obviously here to show off its divine ability. Lord Ba's bloodline was indeed incredible. It had not even become a savage beast, but it had already grasped a divine ability. This was even more abnormal than its master. The yellow smell in Lord Ba's mouth was a divine ability awakened by Lord Ba's bloodline. According to this strange bird, this divine ability was called the Qi of the Five Thieves. As the saying goes, the five thieves are in the heart and executed by the heavens. The universe is in the hand and all transformations are in the body. This divine ability directly affected the soul. It was very mysterious. It was precisely the Qi of the Five Thieves that attacked the heart. No matter how Qin Feng sealed his acupuncture points, it was useless. Qin Feng sat cross-legged on the Dao platform. Streams of Xiantian true Qi flowed, as he diligently cultivated. The day passed in the blink of an eye. The stars in the sky had just risen. Standing on the mountain peak, this feeling was even clearer. Closing his eyes, Qin Feng once again activated the star perception divine art and entered that mysterious state once again. With this experience, Qin Feng was familiar with it this time. His mind entered the emptiness realm, and his mental energy broke through that hazy barrier. His mind floated up and appeared in that incomparably majestic galaxy. This time, Qin Feng appeared in an unfamiliar galaxy. According to the art of the origin stars, when using the star perception divine art, the mind would not appear in the same place every time it entered the galaxy. Qin Feng looked around. Stars appeared one after another in front of him. Most of them were emitting bright light. This was a completely unfamiliar region. Qin Feng randomly chose a direction and roamed. Qin Feng's luck was not bad. Not long later, a faint star appeared in front of Qin Feng's eyes. It was a long hammer-shaped star, the Great Strength Long Hammer Star. After fusing with the Great Strength Long Hammer Star, one would obtain some talent in strength. This might be compatible with the Black Tortoise Great Strength. Qin Feng shook his head. Qin Feng was not prepared to become a blacksmith. His figure turned into light and roamed the galaxy. After an unknown amount of time, a beautiful blue star suddenly appeared in the distance. A trace of invisible attraction appeared. This is resonance. Qin Feng was secretly moved and stepped closer. This was a beautiful star emitting an ocean blue luster. Ocean Empire Star? The Ocean Empire Star was very compatible with his water attribute physique. If he could refine it into a natal star, Qin Feng's water attribute sacred art would be greatly strengthened. Qin Feng intended to go forward and check it out. At this moment, a tyrannical aura burst out from the Ocean Empire Star. Qin Feng saw a Valkyrie wearing silver-white battle clothes appear in the sky above the Ocean Empire Star. This Valkyrie held the Ocean Emperor's trident and locked onto his mind. Qin Feng was shocked. His figure turned into lightning and disappeared. At the same place, a blue light flashed and pierced through the void. Suddenly, a black void crack exploded. What a fierce woman! Qin Feng took a deep breath and plunged into the galaxy without looking back. After experiencing this crisis, Qin Feng was even more cautious. Later on, he encountered many stars, but most of them were not satisfactory. Until a dragon-shaped, emperor-like purple star appeared in front of him. Qin Feng's body once again emitted a strong resonance phenomenon. Dragon Emperor Star? Please recommend me, please collect. Chapter 224. Dragon Emperor Star was a rare Emperor's Star. Additionally, given its luster, brightness, and power, Zhang Tai knew it was of excellent quality. If he could refine the Dragon Emperor Star as his natal star, Qin Feng's physique would be greatly strengthened and he would have the majesty of an emperor. Qin Feng's eyes were burning. Qin Feng guessed that this Dragon Emperor Star might have something to do with the holy dragon pearl essence he absorbed in the True Dragon Cave. After the True Dragon Qi cleansed his flesh and soul, Qin Feng had a trace of Dragon Qi on him. Qin Feng could see that the Dragon Emperor Star was still ownerless at the moment. That's it. It was rare to encounter a star of such high quality that was perfectly compatible with it. Joy flashed through Qin Feng's heart. He immediately decided to go forward and imprint the void imprint. At this moment, his body trembled and he stopped. Qin Feng had a strange look on his face. Another faintly discernible attractive force appeared. Resonance. Another resonance. Qin Feng found it strange that he was resonating with two stars at the same time. This was extremely rare. Especially the last resonance force. Qin Feng felt an incomparable attractive force all over his body, as if he couldn't wait to throw himself into it. Qin Feng had a strange look on his face. Although there were two resonance forces, in fact, there seemed to be only one Dragon Emperor Star in front of him. Qin Feng was curious. In the end, he decided to take a step back and reclaim the Dragon Emperor Star. Qin Feng looked around and followed the other abnormal and clear resonance force. After carefully looking around, Qin Feng slowly found a clue. Qin Feng saw a completely black star on one side of the Dragon Emperor Star. It had a trace of blood light and was faintly discernible in the galaxy. It was shaped like a blood-stained broom. It looked like a jinx. A jinx symbolized misfortune and bad luck. However, this star not only revealed misfortune and bad luck, but also disaster, massacre, and tyranny. Qin Feng's gaze locked onto this star. The direction of the resonance, as well as the increasing attraction force, indicated that he was resonating with a strange star. Qin Feng recognized this star the moment he saw it. This was a rarely seen ominous star. Qin Feng's heart stirred. According to the description in the Primal Chaos Star Secret Art, there were several types of stars with the highest quality. One was the lucky star. The lucky star shone brightly, bringing great fortune to one's head. The other was the Kuei Xing. The Kuei Xing was the leader of all forces, and his strength suppressed all the other stars. The other type was ominous stars. Ominous stars possessed inconceivable killing power. Refining an ominous star into a natal star would increase one's battle prowess by 30%. Moreover, ominous stars often had some strange powers. These three types of stars were extremely rare. To be able to encounter one was truly a great opportunity. Clearly, although the Dragon Emperor Star was of good quality, it was inferior to this ominous star. But according to the art of the primeval stars, ominous stars were extremely difficult to smelt. I must seize this opportunity. Although his heart was surging, Qin Feng suppressed this emotion. After calming his mind, Qin Feng closed his eyes and operated the star perception divine art to strengthen the resonance with this ominous star. Gradually, some information about this ominous star entered Qin Feng's mind. This ominous star had been born for an unknown number of years. It was born from the murderous aura, ominous aura, and even the condensed ominous calamity, and the corpse of an ancient demon god. It had been nurtured in the Star River for countless years. Not long after, its real name appeared in Qin Feng's mind. God-perishing star. God-perishing star, it's really a good name. Qin Feng suppressed the joy in his heart. Qin Feng's expression was solemn. After finding a perfectly compatible star, he immediately began the second step of the meditation star, which was to condense the void mark. According to the art of the primeval stars, the meditation star was to use mental strength to draw out the traces of the God-perishing star in the void. Only by capturing the traces of this star and condensing it into a void imprint would Qin Feng be able to not lose track of it the next time he entered the Star River. Qin Feng's time was tight. Qin Feng had to meditate this star before the sun appeared on the horizon. Otherwise, the next time he appeared in the Star River, he might be in another star area. Qin Feng closed his eyes and followed the star perception divine art to meditate on the God-perishing star with his mental strength. It was extremely difficult to meditate on the God-perishing star. Qin Feng concentrated his mental strength and slowly drew out a wisp of ominous aura from the God-perishing star. Gradually, a pale black star appeared in the void. Suddenly, a stream of ominous aura, as sharp as a sharp blade, appeared in the distant sky and rushed over. Puff! As the mental strength fluctuated, the pale black star that Qin Feng had drawn out was instantly destroyed. The results of his previous meditation were in vain. Qin Feng tried again. However, just as he was about to complete the meditation of this star, a wisp of ominous aura appeared in the void and destroyed the results of Qin Feng's meditation. Qin Feng's mental strength was greatly consumed. Qin Feng didn't feel good. Qin Feng estimated that he only had 2 chances at most. After 2 chances, he would be forced to withdraw from the Star River. Once he withdrew from the Star River this time, he would definitely be in another star area the next time. This was equivalent to missing out on the God-perishing star. This was something that Qin Feng wouldn't allow. Qin Feng's face was gloomy. Qin Feng somewhat understood the advice in the art of the primeval stars. It was difficult to encounter an ominous star, but it was even more difficult to capture it. However, don't think that I can't do anything to you. He snorted coldly in his heart. Qin Feng's stubbornness flared up. Qin Feng used his mental strength to meditate on the God-perishing star for the 3rd time. A wisp of bloody black aura fluctuated in the void and gradually drew out a pure black star. This star was filled with the aura of disaster, slaughter, and destruction. This star faintly resonated with the God-perishing star in the distance. It absorbed the aura of the God-perishing star and gradually stabilized it. The void shook slightly. Right at this moment, a wisp of ominous aura from the God-perishing star in the distance broke through the void and bounced back. It wanted to shatter this meditated star. Good timing! Although Qin Feng's mental strength was in the meditating star, he was multitasking. He had long been prepared. A part of his mental strength poured into a demonic diagram in the depths of his soul. The abyssal demonic diagram was suddenly awakened. It turned into a wisp of invisible black hole and appeared outside the star that Qin Feng was meditating on. In a flash, it swallowed the ominous aura of the God-perishing star. Good chance! Taking advantage of this opportunity, Qin Feng poured a part of his mental strength into the pale black star that he had meditated on. Buzz! Buzz! The void shook. This small star that he had meditated on shook. In an instant, it solidified and turned into a special mark of the void around the God-perishing star. The mark of the void absorbed the aura of the God-perishing star, entangling the God-perishing star like a cowhide plaster. Before he could rejoice, a black vortex appeared in the void and pulled Qin Feng's mental strength into the vortex. The next moment, Qin Feng opened his eyes by the heavenly lake. His face turned pale. I'm back. This time, Qin Feng had consumed too much of his mental strength. He couldn't maintain it, so he was forced to withdraw from the first layer of the Star River. Qin Feng raised his head. The stars were sparse in the night sky. The night had yet to disperse. Qin Feng estimated that it was probably still 3 in the morning. There were still 4 to 6 hours before daybreak. Qin Feng closed his eyes. He could faintly feel an indistinct connection between him and a star in the distant Milky Way. I did it! Qin Feng opened his eyes. There was a trace of joy in his eyes that he couldn't hide. Second update, next update, third update at noon. Chapter 225. Qin Feng sat cross-legged on the Dao platform, occasionally taking out a cup of 7-Star Dragon spring water to drink. The 7-Star Dragon spring water was the best at recovering mental power. When leaving the 7-Star Dragon spring, Qin Feng deliberately opened the Jade Sea Heaven and Earth to swallow a few hundred kilograms. At that time, Qin Mu thought that it was an illusion when someone opened the Jade Sea Heaven and Earth to steal the spirit water. After drinking a cup of 7-Star Dragon spring water, his mental power gradually recovered. According to the Origin Star secret art, there were 4 steps to condensing the natal star mark. To condense the natal star mark, one had to follow the steps step by step. The first step was to sense the star's true name. The second step was to condense the void mark. The third step was to use the stars to temper the body. In Qin Feng's opinion, the third step was the most interesting. The stars to temper the body was not as simple as guiding the star's origin energy to temper the body. It was to fuse the innate true qi into the Origin Star secret art. The Origin Star secret art had a very mysterious effect. It could fuse the innate true qi of any cultivation technique. In other words, the Origin Star secret art could fuse any cultivation technique into a new one that had the strengths of both technique. In other words, although all Stars College's experts were cultivating the Origin Star secret art, each person's Origin Star secret art was unique. The most interesting part was that if you cultivated a 9 heavenly layer foundation establishment cultivation technique, then after fusing with the Origin Star secret art, you would still have 9 layers. If you cultivated an 11 heavenly layer foundation establishment cultivation technique, then after fusing with the Origin Star secret art, you would still have 11 layers. Just as Qin Feng was comprehending the first layer of the Origin Star secret art, Luan Xiaochuan, Su Jie, and the others appeared on the flower path beside the lake. On the flower path, there was a small bridge over flowing water. Luan Xiaochuan and the others planted a kind of spirit bamboo seedling, which seemed to be full of vitality. After a few steps, the 3 appeared by the lake. Looking at the black-robed youth sitting in front of him, Luan Xiaochuan said slowly with a respectful expression, "Cave Master, the Hidden Dragon rankings is open." Qin Feng opened his eyes and looked at Luan Xiaochuan. Luan Xiaochuan said, "Cave Master, according to your instructions, we have been paying attention to this matter. The registration for the Hidden Dragon scoreboard starts today." Luan Xiaochuan and the others looked gloomy. Every time the Hidden Dragon scoreboard was opened, it would be bloody. Qin Feng said with a gleam in his eyes, "Do you want to register?" Luan Xiaochuan felt a trace of pressure and hurriedly said, "I dare not delay Cave Master's important matters. I have already registered Cave Master as soon as possible. The competition will officially begin in 1 month." "Very good." Qin Feng nodded. Qin Feng revealed a strange look in his eyes. He turned around and looked at the golden lotuses beside the heavenly lake. "Azure Dragon School, did those experts from Xingchen School sign up as well? Cave Master, you truly have a divine foresight. After we helped Cave Master register, those people followed closely behind and also officially registered for the accumulated points Hidden Dragon tournament. Looks like those guys can't wait to find trouble with this Cave Master." Qin Feng's face was gloomy. Thinking about the news he received on the day of the examination, Qin Feng still felt a burst of fear. If he hadn't broken through to the 12th layer of the Golden Sword art on the last day of the 3-month period, Qin Feng believed that he would very likely lose the position of Azure Dragon School's chief. Goddess of Glacier Lu Qingxue, Ning Heng Zhang Sun Huia. In this examination, not only did Qin Feng remember these three names, but the entire Azure Dragon School also remembered these three people. Especially the leader, Goddess of Glacier Lu Qingxue, whose strength was unfathomable. She could be called the #1 freshman of All Stars College. There were rumors that this girl had reached the peak of the 13th heavenly layer of the Martial Path, and might soon break through to the Meridian's condensation stage. With such a heaven's pride eyeing the throne under his butt, Qin Feng really couldn't relax for a moment. But that girl Ji Huang Er's luck is really good. No one actually has any ideas about her Vermilion Bird School's chief position. Secretly thinking in his heart, Qin Feng shook his head. There was no need to talk about Ji Huang Er's strength. Her strength was not weaker than his, and was even a bit stronger. It's a pity for Yang Qing and Zhao Xikong. These two are probably very depressed. The Azure Dragon's chief position that they obtained with great difficulty was snatched away, and they could only obediently move out of the Spirit Mountain blessed land. Thinking about Zhao Xikong and Yang Cheng's situation, Qin Feng was even more aware of the cruelty of the competition in All Stars College. These two were examples of what had happened before. Qin Feng's face was indifferent as various thoughts flashed through his mind. At this moment, when he turned around and looked, defending the Azure Dragon's chief position was not something to be happy about. Defending it once was nothing. The most important thing was how to stay in this position. After thinking for a bit, Qin Feng said to Luan Xiaochuan and the others, "In the next month, Luan Xiaochuan, go and collect information on the second year's 4 chiefs, as well as some of the second year's powerhouses." After speaking, Qin Feng paused for a moment and said, "If necessary, you can take this Seats Point token to Wind Message Hall to buy information." Wind Message Hall was an organization under All Stars College that specialized in buying and selling information. As long as one had enough points and merit points, one could buy information on some of the All Stars College's geniuses and experts. One could even buy information related to the distribution of savage beasts in the Savage Desolation realm. However, in Wind Message Hall, the stronger the expert, the more expensive the information. Yes, Cave Master. The three of them looked at each other and retreated at the same time. The three of them hurriedly retreated along the path of flowers beside the lake. Qin Feng stood on the platform. Qin Feng took a deep breath. Time was a little tight. Qin Feng had to master the first stage of the Art of Chaos Star within a month. Looking at the scarlet light scattered around the heavenly lake. On the platform, Qin Feng muttered to himself, "I wonder what kind of changes will occur when my innate transmutation unity law and Art of Chaos Star are merged?" Qin Feng adjusted his breathing and meditated for an hour. He practiced a set of fist arts and moved his limbs slightly. With a flash, Qin Feng appeared on the platform. Sitting cross-legged on the platform, Qin Feng followed the circulation route of the Art of Chaos Star in his mind. The innate true qi in his body began to circulate according to an unfamiliar route, and the innate transmutation unity true qi gradually changed its nature. The cultivation method of the first stage of the Art of Chaos Star wasn't that difficult. Moreover, Qin Feng's innate transmutation unity law was a type of neutral and peaceful true qi without any attribute. The cultivation of the Art of Chaos Star was abnormally easy. 3 days later, on the platform, Qin Feng opened his eyes. His eyes were like 2 stars and his aura changed. It became primitive, boundless, and vigorous, as if he was a majestic star that existed since ancient times. In the next moment, this aura suddenly dissipated. Feeling the ocean-like silver-white true qi in his body, Qin Feng's eyes revealed a trace of a smile. He stretched out a hand, and a silver-white light appeared on his palm. In an instant, it transformed into a silver-white shapeless longsword. Qin Feng felt a majestic surge of true qi in his body. The innate transmutation unity law was known as the number one true chi, and the art of chaos star was also known for its vastness. It was known as the boundless galaxy. After the two merged, the true chi in his body was truly earth-shattering. Qin Feng's true chi of the 12th heavenly layer of the martial path was not necessarily weaker than some veteran meridian's condensing stage expert. At this moment, if he were to meet an expert like Wei Qinghuang, Qin Feng was confident that he could fight him head-on without falling into a disadvantageous position. There will be one more update after midnight. Please recommend it, please add it to your collection this week. There will be 3 or 4 updates. After 1 week, there will be more updates. Chapter 226. Under the curtain of night, starlight sprinkled down from the sky onto the Scarlet Sky Peak. The Scarlet Sky Peak was like a lonely island suspended in the sky. The sea of clouds was boundless, and the pavilions, terraces, and lofty palaces and temples were like cold divine palaces. On the platform, Qin Feng was clad in a black robe. The silvery white starlight sprinkled down on his body, making him look like an eternal divine monarch of the 9 heavens. This art of primeval chaos stars is really incredible. After fusing with my primeval chaos unity chi, its true chi is simply unimaginable. As Qin Feng muttered to himself, he waved his sleeves, and 8 formless silvery white swords appeared in the air one after another. Golden Gung slaying sword art. Originally, Qin Feng found it difficult to conjure 8 formless swords with this sword art. But now it was abnormally easy. With a thought, the silvery white swords turned into 8 streaks of white light and flew in the air. The 8 swords shot out explosively, and the sword light wreaked havoc. It was as easy as moving a finger. A radius of 15 zhang. Qin Feng's range of control over the 8 formless swords increased from 10 zhang to 15 zhang. He waved his sleeves, and the 8 streaks of cold light rolled back, capturing the 8 formless swords. Qin Feng's face turned solemn. The next step was the most important one, which was to condense the star imprint and completely imprint it on the god-perishing star, turning it into a natal star. Qin Feng calmed his distracting thoughts and sat cross-legged on the platform. He skillfully operated the star perception divine art. Following the faintly discernible connection in the depths of the beer, in the next moment, Qin Feng's mind flew and appeared in the boundless galaxy. A magnificent galaxy appeared before his eyes. Countless stars flickered with magnificent starlight in his field of vision. Qin Feng glanced around. Far away, a pure black, broom-shaped star appeared in his vision. God-perishing star. With a flash, Qin Feng rushed towards the origin core of the god-perishing star. Like a streak of light, he shot into the black god-perishing star. It was a huge primeval space. Currently, the god-perishing star was in an ownerless state, and the core space was open. What Qin Feng needed to do was to leave his own unique mark here. The art of the primordial stars contained a secret technique for imprinting one's natal imprint. Every star lord had a different natal star mark. While roaming the galaxy, Qin Feng had encountered many strange star imprints. Some were shaped like tools, some were shaped like weapons, some were shaped like beasts, some were shaped like trees, and some were shaped like flowers. Qin Feng had even seen a supreme being who had turned his natal star imprint into a woman's crotch cloth. Qin Feng prepared a pattern that he was most familiar with. Mo2. The diagram of the abyssal magic diagram. It was an extremely complicated star natal brand. It was common knowledge that the more complex a star's natal imprint was, the more mental energy it consumed, and the more difficult it was to inscribe. However, Qin Feng still decided to use this pattern. Qin Feng channeled the art of the chaos star, and with his mind power as the foundation, he began to draw out the diagram of the abyss demon diagram stroke by stroke. In the void, an invisible pattern appeared, exuding a silvery white luster. Each stroke was like a work of art. Rumble. In the core space, a black and red thunderbolt was born in an instant. The core space began to tremble, and a terrifying killing intent was born, shaking the world. Under this earth-shattering change, Qin Feng's face was gloomy, and he suddenly felt insignificant. He was like an ant under the sky. There was also a great pressure in his mind, and a dense aura of death enveloped his mind. Qin Feng's mind was unstable, and the abyssal demon diagram that he had just drawn was shattered. At the same time, in the sky, a blood-red thunderbolt suddenly enveloped Qin Feng. Boom! Qin Feng's mind was unstable, and he was almost torn apart by the thunderbolt and turned into ashes. In the depths of his soul, a black light suddenly shot out and fell on top of Qin Feng's head, obliterating the ferocious aura. Ominous star counterattack. If it were anyone else, they would have died without a complete corpse. If their mind died, they would become an idiot. The abyssal demon diagram above his head rotated, exuding a terrifying aura that suppressed the sky. Qin Feng was expressionless, and he once again drew the abyssal demon diagram with his mind power. Every stroke, a wisp of aura seeped into the diagram in his hand. The silvery white diagram reappeared. Rumble! The perishing god's star shook violently, and an even more powerful and terrifying counterattack power turned into a blood-red thunderbolt and bombarded him. Ferocious, ominous, unlucky, and murderous aura turned into a torrent of blood-red thunderbolts and rushed over. Qin Feng's mind seemed to be wrapped in a dense aura of death, and he seemed to have seen a strange phenomenon. The next moment, he would be refined into ashes by the blood-red thunderbolts. Qin Feng was calm, and he was multitasking. The abyssal demon diagram unfolded and turned into a devouring vortex full of endless darkness and evil. The counterattack power of the perishing god's star was devoured by the abyssal demon diagram without exception. After devouring a trace of the perishing god's star's power, the abyssal demon diagram emitted a faint luster, as if it was awakening. It was like a giant that began to release its own power. The abyssal demon diagram was a peerless divine object that was about to become a divine weapon. Although it had been severely damaged while traveling through space, it was recovering its power as the first layer of the blue sea abyss was opened. The perishing god's star had a peerless power. If it counterattacked with all its power, the broken abyssal demon diagram wouldn't be able to resist it. However, it was just a trace of its instinctive counterattack, which was easily suppressed by the abyssal demon diagram. With the abyssal demon diagram suppressing this trace of interference, everything became simple. Qin Feng's mind was immersed in the abyssal demon diagram. Every stroke was as smooth as moving clouds and flowing water. After every stroke, Qin Feng's body became more and more illusory. The consumption of his mental energy was terrifying. When the last stroke was finished, a flow of silvery white light flowed from the first stroke of the diagram. At the last stroke, a strange but gorgeous abyssal demon diagram was drawn. The abyssal demon diagram bloomed, releasing silvery white light that seemed to be able to devour and demonize everything. In a flash, it turned into a silver light and rushed into the origin of the perishing god's star. It's done. At this moment, Qin Feng felt that the connection between him and the perishing god's star had broken through a bottleneck. It was as smooth as water and milk. Buzz, buzz. Qin Feng suddenly felt dizzy, as if his body would disappear at any time. Drawing this natal star imprint consumed a lot of energy. Qin Feng almost collapsed. Smiling bitterly, Qin Feng tried his best to concentrate and maintain his mind. In the deepest part of the perishing god's star, the natal star imprint in the shape of the abyssal demon diagram fell into the core and started to absorb the origin of the perishing god's star. The natal star imprint turned into a cocoon, absorbing the star essence energy that had been left on the perishing god's star for countless years. At the same time, a weak feedback followed the natal star imprint and poured into Qin Feng's mental avatar, which was about to become illusory. Like a gurgling spring, it kept pouring in. The mental avatar formed by Qin Feng's mind absorbed this pure star essence energy and started to condense. After a while, it returned to its original state. At the same time, there was a trace of improvement. Qin Feng's mental avatar was glowing. His mental energy was strengthened by a trace of the origin of the perishing god's star. Qin Feng's expression was calm as he looked at his natal star imprint. Condensing the natal star imprint was only the first step to controlling the natal star. The next step was to create a star battle body. This was the foundation of conquering the first level of the Star River. In the first level of the Star River, there were not only stars but also some nebula beasts that ate stars as food. The nebula beasts were a kind of terrifying starry sky beasts born from endless starlight. The Star River was also filled with the cruel law of the jungle, where the strong preyed on the weak. Between the nebula beasts and the stars, they were both prey and hunters. If the nebula beasts were strong enough, they could devour stars and evolve. Similarly, if the Star Master was strong enough, he could hunt the nebula beasts, plunder their essence, and refine his natal star. If the natal star was strong enough, he could advance to the second level of the Star River and enter the second level of the Star River, where the starlight was more abundant. The Star Battle Body was the first step for the Star Master to move unhindered in the Star River. Only by using the natal imprint to create the Star Battle Body could the Star Master have the most basic self-protection ability. Just like the huge heavenly serpent and the Valkyrie that Qin Feng had seen in the Star River, they were both star battle bodies. However, according to the records in the Art of Origin of Stars, the power of the star battle body could not be brought back to the physical body. Unless the star could advance to the 7th or 8th level of the Star River and had the power to break through the Star River, the star battle body could be integrated into the physical body. However, according to the Art of Origin of Stars, killing the nebula beasts with the star battle body would result in the star's feedback. Qin Feng's physical body also benefited. Please recommend me, collect me, reward me. Chapter 227. Nurturing the stellar battle physique required a long period of time. Seeing that he had successfully imprinted his natal star, Qin Feng disappeared from the first layer of the Star River. On the Dao platform, Qin Feng opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, he immediately felt a slight change in his body. The Chaos Star constellation True Qi in his body had already undergone some inexplicable changes. The origin star True Qi, which was originally peaceful and broad, now carried a trace of fierceness. Qin Feng tried to condense a strand of star constellation True Qi. The originally silvery white star constellation True Qi turned into a pure black color with a trace of blood-like red. It was like the star origin energy emitted by the perishing god star. The Chaos Star constellation secret art has undergone a mutation and merged with a trace of perishing god star's star origin energy. Qin Feng guessed that this might be the result of cultivating the Chaos Star constellation secret art. This kind of power was extremely unfamiliar, but it was extremely tyrannical. Compared to before, it had an additional trace of ruthless killing intent. The power of an ominous star. Qin Feng's sleeves drooped down as he lowered his palms. Qin Feng guessed that this might be related to everyone's natal star. Sensing it slightly, Qin Feng realized that after merging with his natal star, he had received the feedback of his natal star's origin energy. Unknowingly, he had broken through from the mid-stage of the 12th heavenly layer to the late stage of the 12th heavenly layer. His body's true qi was even more majestic. 7 days later, on the Dao platform, Qin Feng had completely consolidated and familiarized himself with the first layer of the Chaos Star constellation secret art. Qin Feng decided to head to the capital of stars All Stars College to obtain the second layer of the Chaos Star constellation secret art. In addition, Qin Feng wanted to take this opportunity to bring back Hong Lian, Qin Shou, Qin Gang, and the rest. Early in the morning, the faint rays of dawn appeared on the scarlet sky peak as a scarlet sun rose from the horizon. Chirp! A crisp chirp sounded from the horizon as a snow-white white jade ice sparrow appeared in Qin Feng's vision. Qin Feng's figure moved, and like a black rainbow, he rushed into the horizon and landed on the white jade ice sparrow. Gua, Brother Feng, wait for Lord Ba. In the distance, Lord Ba flapped his wings with difficulty and flew over in a crooked manner. The corner of Qin Feng's mouth twitched slightly. He waved his sleeve, and an invisible force wrapped around the strange bird and pulled it onto his shoulder. Then, he patted the white jade ice sparrow lightly. The white jade ice sparrow let out a joyful and high-pitched chirp, then turned into a cold light and soared into the sky. The sea of clouds stretched as far as the eye could see. As far as the eye could see, numerous towering spiritual mountains towered into the sea of clouds. There were green pines and green cypresses, and there were rare and exotic beasts resting there. The cries of cranes filled the sky. At a glance, these spirit mountains were scattered all over the place, like islands in the sea of clouds. The white jade ice sparrow spread its wings and flew as fast as lightning. In the blink of an eye, it had covered several miles. After Silly Bird became a white jade ice sparrow, her speed had multiplied. Even though she was not as fast as the eagles, geese, and eagles of the same level, she was not slow. Standing on the white jade ice sparrow, Qin Feng released a layer of invisible origin star-stellar energy from his pores, forming a protective shield that was several feet wide. It protected his body and blocked the gale. On his shoulder, Lord Ba desperately grabbed Qin Feng's shoulder with his claws to prevent himself from being blown off by the gale. Lord Ba shrieked, "Croak, croak, Brother Feng, lend me some of your stellar energy." The corner of Qin Feng's mouth twitched into a faint smile. Although Lord Ba had a pure bloodline and had awakened his innate ability early, flying was still Lord Ba's weakness. This was because this bird had no feathers and could not fly. Lord Ba's eyes rolled around as he called out, "Croak, croak, Brother Feng, Lord Ba has important information to report to you?" Qin Feng looked ahead and said lazily, "What information? If Lord Ba reports this information to you, can you lend Lord Ba some of your stellar energy? This depends on your performance." "Really? Brother Feng, let me tell you. Ever since we flew out of Scarlet Sky Peak, a bird has been following us." "What?" Qin Feng's face instantly turned gloomy. He tapped his foot slightly. The white jade ice sparrow understood and immediately slowed down. Qin Feng looked around and spread out his powerful spiritual perception. A secret art appeared in Qin Feng's mind. Heavenly hearing and earthly vision. Lord Ba was extremely intelligent. With a single glance, he could tell that Qin Feng seemed to be using a secret technique. With a turn of his eyes, he suddenly transformed into wisps of faint black smoke and disappeared on Qin Feng's shoulder. Qin Feng stopped the secret technique that he was about to use and looked at Lord Ba with a solemn gaze. This thieving bird actually had a trick up his sleeve. This crafty fellow. Croak, croak. After a while, the black smoke suddenly flashed in the air and turned into Lord Ba's figure. He proudly landed on the black-robed youth's shoulder. Qin Feng looked deeply at this fellow. Finally, his gaze fell on a strange sparrow the size of a sparrow that was desperately struggling at Lord Ba's feet. Cloud Spy Bird. Qin Feng's expression slightly changed. He recognized this type of small bird. It was a type of bird with extremely high intelligence. It had a special talent that allowed it to change its aura with a single glance like a chameleon, as well as the color of its feathers. Many experts would tame this type of bird for surveillance, tracking, and scouting purposes. This should be the method of that Black Hand, right? Qin Feng's face turned gloomy as he grabbed the desperately struggling Cloud Spy Bird. A few days ago, Qin Feng had always felt that there was a shadow watching him in the dark and plotting against him. Whether it was Ao Feng, who suddenly jumped out to oppose him, Jin Shaowang, Wei Qinghuang, or that guy who used the chaotic divine tune to disturb his mind with the intention of killing him, all of them were related to that shadow. If one were to trace back further, the 72 earth-terminating nails in the Jade Water cave on the Scarlet Peak might be the work of that shadow. It seems like this person is addicted to scheming. Do you really think that I won't be able to find him? Qin Feng sneered as a vicious aura surged in his heart. This time, he finally managed to catch some clues. Qin Feng's eyes fell on this cloud spy bird. This cloud spy bird was tainted with a trace of intelligence. This type of bird was extremely intelligent and could understand humans. He should be able to find out the identity of that black hand from it. 80, I'll leave it to you. Find out the owner behind it. 80 spread his wings and grabbed the struggling cloud spy bird with his sharp claws. 80 cried out with a sharp voice. Croak, croak. Brother Feng, don't worry. Leave it to 80. This little thing actually followed 80. How dare it? 80's bloodline was extremely high. When the cloud spy bird fell into Qin Feng's hands, it struggled, but when it fell under 80's feet, it was actually trembling in fear. Its wings trembled as it lowered its head like a quail. Not long later, 80 suddenly cried out, Brother Feng, we found the target. Its owner lives in the Celestial Water Lake's first sky cave. I think it's called Jade Floating Sinking? It's this Jade Floating Sinking that ordered it to monitor our every move around the Scarlet Peak. Jade Floating Sinking? Qin Feng's face sank. Qin Feng had heard Senior Baiyun mention this person before. This person was a veteran expert of All Stars College. This person was extremely gloomy and scheming. Many people in All Stars College called this person a smiling tiger. This person wasn't famous for his cultivation, but his identity. This person was a rarely seen second-grade mystic master. His identity was extremely special in All Stars College. With this identity, he was often the guest of honor of various large battle squads. Second-grade mystic master, proficient in mystic arrays. It seems like the person who used the 72 Earth Fiend nails to seal the Scarlet Peak's spiritual energy is this person. Qin Feng's eyes were bursting with killing intent. 80 dismissed the underling cloud spy bird behind him, and asked the black-robed youth. Brother Feng, what should we do now? What should we do? Naturally, we will go and beat him up. The second update will be in the afternoon. The third update will be in the evening. As for the fourth update, if the recommendation votes can reach the top 10, it will be 4 updates today. Right now, this book's recommendation votes are ranked 16th on the entire platform. Brothers, it's up to you if you can reach the top 5, let alone 4 or 5 updates. Even 10 updates a day is fine. Chapter 228. This Lord 8 likes beating people up. Lord 8 beamed with joy, but soon after, he revealed a trace of bashfulness. Brother Feng, can Lord 8 ask you for a favor? Qin Feng was surprised. What is it? Can you not kill her? Lord 8 was referring to the white cloud sparrow that was hiding behind him like a quail. Why? Lord Ba said arrogantly as he patted his chest. Because I, Lord 8, promised her to let her become a member of the great Lord 8's harem? Qin Feng swept his gaze across Lord 8 and the cloud spy bird in a strange manner. The two birds' figures were not proportionate. Qin Feng had a strange expression. Brother Feng, don't look at Lord 8 with your superficial eyes. Lord 8 was a little angry from embarrassment after being stared at by Qin Feng's strange eyes. Lord 8 is a divine bird that has sworn to cultivate into a human form. Cultivate into a human form? Dream on, unless you can become a demon god. Qin Feng turned his head. Since Lord 8 had already subdued this cloud spy bird, Qin Feng would no longer make things difficult for him. Riding on the silly bird, Qin Feng changed his direction and flew towards the Celestial Water Lake. The Celestial Water Lake was a few hundred miles away from the Scarlet Sky Peak. The Celestial Water Lake was located in a great lake, which was located at the edge of the Supreme Palace enclosure. Within the Great Lake, there were 3 to 5 spiritual mountains located in Blessed Land. The Celestial Water Lake was one of the Grade 5 water-attributed spiritual mountains. This place was a shellfish farm that produced a type of water-attributed spiritual pearls. 1 hour later, the white jade ice sparrow appeared in the sky above the sea of clouds a few miles away from the Celestial Water Lake. Qin Feng looked up and saw that the water was jade green, the mountains were green, and the clouds and water complemented each other. The Celestial Water Lake was located in the center of the Great Lake, and the entire landscape was like flowing water. The surrounding spiritual energy gathered in the Celestial Water Lake, and the density of the spiritual energy was not inferior to some of the high-grade spiritual mountains. Obviously, the cave master of the Celestial Water Lake was an expert with great attainments in the art of arrays. He had set up some spirit-gathering profound arrays around this spiritual mountain. These spirit-gathering profound formations were linked together to form a huge sky one mystic water spirit-gathering formation. Water spiritual energy gathered in the Celestial Water Lake, and this Level 5 Blessed Land was about to be upgraded to a Level 6 Blessed Land. There were many invisible restrictions around the Celestial Water Lake. These restrictions flowed like clouds and mist. It was hazy, covering the entire Celestial Water Lake Blessed Land. Qin Feng glanced at it and recognized the dense restrictive spells that looked like flowing clouds. The restrictions in the void above the Celestial Water Lake were mainly based on the Minor Heavens Cloud Water restriction. The Lesser Heavens Cloud Water seal was a type of Earth termination seal. There were as many as 36 layers, and the clouds and water were one entity. This was a type of restriction that possessed the power of confusion, illusion, trapping, and binding. Among the Earth Fiend restrictions, this kind of restriction was very famous. Many powerful mystic formation masters liked to use this kind of restriction to protect their cave abode. Moreover, this type of restriction also had a mysterious effect. It could be stacked and linked. This was also the origin of the name Minor Heavens. What it meant was that after entering the layers, one would feel as if they had arrived at an illusory world. The more layers of the Lesser Heavens Cloud Water seal were stacked, the more powerful it would be. It's like a tortoise shell. It's a little troublesome. Looking at these restrictions, Qin Feng felt that it was a little troublesome. Although he didn't fear these restrictions, they were too troublesome. After a long time, Fu Chen would definitely sense them. At that time there would be more variables. After pondering for a while, Qin Feng took out a pearl from his pocket. Restriction-breaking pearl. This pearl that he snatched from Qian Kai finally played an important role at this moment. Qin Feng sneered and rushed towards the Celestial Water Lake. At the same time, he infused his Xiantian True Qi into the restriction-breaking pearl in his hand. A faint jade-green radiance flowed on the restriction-breaking pearl. Wherever Qin Feng passed, a hole would appear in the Lesser Heavens Cloud Water seal. With a flash, Qin Feng appeared above the Celestial Water Lake. Qin Feng's gaze fell on an island in the middle of the Celestial Water Lake. On the island in the middle of the lake, there were a series of pavilions and terraces. Among them, the largest one seemed to be a crystal palace. There were 3 dazzling words on the archway. Tianyi Prefecture. How dare you trespass into the Tianyi blessed abode? Hurry up and give yourself up. Oh no, someone has trespassed into the Celestial Water Lake. Quick, catch him. Qin Feng didn't hide his tracks. On the surface of the lake in the distance, the water rippled and a few panicked shouts could be heard. A few graceful figures rushed out from the bottom of the lake. When they saw Qin Feng, they were led by a young lady with long curly hair. Her beautiful eyes were filled with anger as she shouted loudly. Where did you come from? How dare you trespass into the Celestial Water Lake? Kneel down and beg for your life. As she spoke, the young lady held a sharp sword and charged towards Qin Feng. This is the ancient mermaid clan of the mutated tribes? Qin Feng's gaze fell on the young lady who was charging towards him. This young lady had a beautiful appearance. She had the body of a human and the tail of a fish. Her golden scales were stunning at first glance. This young lady's cultivation was only at the 10th level of the martial path. It was rumored that if the ancient mermaid clan could break through to the meridian's condensation stage, their tails could transform into legs to walk on the ground. Various thoughts flashed through Qin Feng's mind. He swept his gaze over the several young mermaids who were charging towards him. They couldn't move at all. At the same time, traces of cold air were emitted from their bodies. So cold. I can't move at all. Damn it, the enemy is so powerful. Sisters, let's fight it out with him. Even if we have to risk our lives today, we can't be humiliated. Fight it out with him. Even if we die, we must protect our innocence. The corner of Qin Feng's mouth twitched. Did these young mermaids all have persecutory delusions? Besides, with their bodies and tails, how could they be humiliated? However, it was rumored that the women of the mermaid clan were all made of water. They were stunningly beautiful. If they were willing, they could also transform into fishtails. Moreover, the taste was even more unique. Qin Feng let out a dry cough. He was thinking about the wrong things. Looking at these beautiful young mermaids who were gnashing their teeth, Qin Feng's face turned gloomy. He was a little unhappy. Compared to Yu Fuchen's spiritual mountain paradise, Scarlet Sky Peak was filled with men. Thinking about it now, it was really disgusting. He waved his sleeves and sent a few mermaids who were blocking his way flying. His figure flashed and arrived in front of the Tianyi Prefecture's residence. At this moment, the people in the Tianyi Prefecture had already noticed the commotion outside. A group of people hurried out of the Tianyi Prefecture to check it out. They were led by a few mermaids who had already grown legs. These young mermaids were all youthful and beautiful. Their auras were tyrannical. They were all Meridian's condensation stage experts of the mermaid clan. It was especially so for a mermaid who was beside a youth wearing a jade crown. She had a gorgeous appearance and a noble temperament. She was lofty and had the temperament of a queen. On the right side of the youth wearing a jade crown, there was a young lady in blue palace attire. In terms of beauty, this young lady wasn't inferior to the mermaid queen. Hugging two beauties in each hand, truly unparalleled luck. It just so happens that my Scarlet Sky Peak is in need of maids. Give them to me as compensation. Qin Feng sized up the two ladies. The more he looked, the more satisfied he was. Looking at this black-robed youth who suddenly appeared in his own residence, Yu Fuchen's eyes flashed with a trace of fury and killing intent. After a moment, he smiled. Are you junior martial brother Qin Feng? Qin Feng had suffered quite a few losses from him. If it wasn't for the fact that his strength had increased by leaps and bounds, he would have long been pulled down from his seat of honor by Yu Fuchen. Qin Feng said indifferently, "Cut the crap, Yu Fuchen. If you are smart, don't fight back today. Otherwise, I will cripple you today. My ranking has advanced by 2 places and I am now ranked 13th. Just a little bit more and I will be able to enter the top 10. The rule of additional updates is effective regardless of the day. As long as I am in the top 10, I will be able to update 5 times a day. If I am in the top 5, it won't be a problem for me to update 10 times a day." Chapter 229. Why is Qin Feng here? Yu Fuchen thought that he was unparalleled in scheming, but he did not expect Qin Feng to appear in his cave. How did he get in here? How did he know that I was scheming against him? Yu Fuchen had a panicked feeling that he had miscalculated. A thief was most afraid of his master coming to find him. How dare you trespass into my master's cave and speak so arrogantly? You must be tired of living. On the side, the mermaid queen's face was cold. A shocking aura surged from her body. This aura was like the Yangtze River, shocking people. She was not weaker than Jin Xiaowang. Hongyu, don't be rude. As the saying goes, a visitor is a guest. Yu Fuchen was like a gentleman, gentle and polite. He was not angered by Qin Feng's tone at all. Instead, he was very tolerant and respectful. He had calmed down. The eyes of the girl in the red dress lit up. Her beautiful face revealed a trace of gentleness. It was obvious that her heart was completely tied to Yu Fuchen. He sure is scheming. Qin Feng sneered coldly in his heart despite his expressionless face. Qin Feng waved his hand. That's enough, Yu Fuchen. Stop showing off your hypocrisy. Are you going to harm yourself, or are you going to let me cripple you? Bastard! The mermaid queen's eyes were filled with murderous intent. If Yu Fuchen did not stop her, she would have already charged forward. Qin Feng curled his lips. Yu Fuchen frowned. Qin Feng, we have no grudge against each other. Why did you barge into my cave and hurt people? Yu Fuchen still had some fear in his heart. Qin Feng dared to appear in the Tianyi prefecture without any fear. Obviously, he had something up his sleeve. This was a dangerous signal. If possible, Yu Fuchen did not want to fall out with him. Seeing Yu Fuchen's expression, Qin Feng guessed most of what Yu Fuchen was thinking. This Yu Fuchen is indeed difficult to deal with. But against me, no matter how much you can endure, you will not be able to. A ferocious glint flashed across Qin Feng's eyes. With a flash of his body, he sent a palm strike towards Yu Fuchen. At this moment, Qin Feng had advanced to the 12th heavenly layer of the martial path. Especially after fusing with the fallen god's star as his natal star, his body was tainted with a trace of the ominous star's power. His palm blasted out, as if an ancient demon god had struck. The whole Tianyi prefecture was shaken. It was as if he had been overturned by the explosive momentum. A palm enveloped Yu Fuchen. Yu Fuchen's face turned pale. This was the first time Yu Fuchen had met someone so unruly. Without saying a word, he directly wanted to cripple him. Don't you dare hurt my master! Several mermaid powerhouses at the pulse condensation stage shouted and leapt forward. Numerous rays of sunflower water true power were like a long river in the sea. The terrifying imposing manner was unstoppable. Scram! Qin Feng glanced over. Several mermaids of the Meridian's realm who were pouncing on him instantly stiffened and were unable to move. Damn it, it's a divine ability! Be careful of this evil thief's divine ability. Everyone, get out of the way! Qin Feng's sleeves were like flowing clouds, and an unparalleled force bombarded the mermaids. Bang bang bang! Several figures were blasted out like cannonballs. A trace of humiliation flashed in Yu Fuchen's eyes, and he quickly retreated. It's too late for you to react now. Qin Feng's figure flashed, and he appeared in front of Yu Fuchen. His palm blasted towards Yu Fuchen. The deep force overturned rivers and seas. Yu Fuchen's heart was filled with helplessness. Although he was a powerhouse at the second secret realm of the pulse condensation stage, his combat strength was not his forte. I'll fight it out with you, Autumn Water Dragon roar. With a roar, his black hair fluttered, and the jade crown on his head was dispersed by the imposing manner. Yu Fuchen's vast and unreserved true power erupted, and two huge water dragons flew out from his body. The two water dragons were like two long rivers with the momentum of the sea. Majestic and turbulent, they were like the roars of the 9 heavens, unstoppable. Water attribute divine ability? Qin Feng's face was expressionless. He raised his head, extended a hand, and gripped the air. Ocean mastery! The two roaring water dragons seemed to have their necks pinched by this invisible hand, and they could not move. Yu Fuchen's face instantly turned red, and the veins on his neck pulsed. He tried his best to fight for the control of the two water dragons. Divine ability suppression. From afar, a beautiful woman in a palace dress revealed a strange look in her beautiful eyes. Obviously, the two of them both cultivated water attribute divine abilities, but Qin Feng's comprehension of the water attribute divine ability was higher, so he was able to suppress Yu Fuchen. Impossible, my water attribute divine ability, Water Dragon Roar, has already been upgraded to a second-level divine ability. He is just a martial artist at the 12th level of the martial way, how can he suppress me? Yu Fuchen roared in his heart. Yu Fuchen's eyes flashed with a trace of almost tangible hatred. Of course it's impossible for others, but it's inevitable for me. With a cold smile, Qin Feng's heart moved, and he instantly escaped the control of the two water dragons from Yu Fuchen's hands. Roar! With two dragon roars, the two water dragons turned their heads and charged towards Yu Fuchen. They wanted to kill Yu Fuchen on the spot. Yu Fuchen! Snapper panicked and shouted. She gritted her teeth, and a water-blue glow surged on her body, turning into a water wall in front of Yu Fuchen. The mermaid race lived in the spiritual lake sea, and the ability to control water was a natural ability for them, as expected of the ancient mermaid race. However, with just this little bit of divine ability of yours, you want a beauty to save a coward? You're just showing off in front of an expert. Qin Feng walked towards Yu Fuchen step by step. A hint of hatred flashed past Snapper's eyes. She transformed into a beam of red light and rushed towards Qin Feng. The light red coral-like longsword in her hand pierced through the air towards Qin Feng. Fast. It was extremely fast. A cold light tore through the void. Qin Feng's eyebrows twitched, and he pulled out his longsword. The North Underworld Godly Water sword slashed out, and an even more powerful sword light swept over. Bang! Bang! The cold light that pierced over was cut apart. The peerless sword chi struck the graceful figure, causing her skin to split apart, her flesh to explode, and her scales to collapse. Her peerlessly beautiful face was tainted with a trace of blood, while a trace of extreme terror was reflected in her eyes. Bang! The Mermaid Queen's figure crashed into the archway of the Tianyi Prefecture, and blood burst out. It was unknown whether she was dead or alive. You overestimate yourself. Qin Feng's face was expressionless, and he tightened his grip on the North Underworld Godly Water sword. What a pity! I wonder if she's dead or not. She's so beautiful, so why does she have to go against me? He had defeated Snapper, who was in the second pulse condensation stage, with one strike. He was in the 12th heavenly realm of the martial path, and he had used sword chi to crush Snapper, who was in the second pulse condensation stage. A trace of shock flashed across the beautiful eyes of the lady in the palace dress, and she stopped in her tracks. Although the lady in the palace dress knew that she was much stronger than the Mermaid Queen, she knew that she could not defeat Snapper with one strike. What the lady in the palace dress was most afraid of was that this young man was not just a little cold. The Mermaid King was such a beautiful woman, but she didn't even blink and directly killed him. Qin Feng, retreating step by step, Yu Fuchen's eyes flashed with a trace of blood. Seeing Snapper being blasted away, Yu Fuchen's heart trembled, and he felt a fear that he had never felt before. He had always been hiding in the back, controlling the fates of others, and watching them bleed and cry. He had always thought of himself as the controller of fate, and he enjoyed the process very much. He liked to watch his prey struggle. From his point of view, Qin Feng was precisely such a prey. He worked tirelessly to weave a trap for this prey, waiting for this prey to enter the trap and be slaughtered. However, he had never thought that one day, Qin Feng would not follow his script at all, and would directly come to kill him. Qin Feng's eyes flashed with a trace of ferocity. His body flashed like lightning, and the next moment, he appeared in front of Yu Fuchen. He grabbed Yu Fuchen's neck with one hand and slapped him hard. Please recommend me, please collect me, please reward me. I'm close to the 12th place, just a little bit away from the top 10 of the recommendation list. Chapter 230. Just as the slap was about to land, Qin Feng suddenly felt an extreme sense of danger. Yu Fuchen raised his head and a sinister look appeared in his eyes, as if he had succeeded in his scheme. Qin Feng immediately retracted his hand. His body was like a snake as he twisted at an unbelievable angle. Yu Fuchen opened his mouth and a black light shot out from where Qin Feng was standing. Pucci! The black light pierced into a huge rock in front of the Tianyi prefecture. Under Qin Feng's gaze, the rock instantly melted into a pool of black liquid. What a dense poisonous gas! Qin Feng sucked in a breath of cold air. This poison could even poison a Sea Revolution expert to death. What a sinister fellow! He actually hid such a poisonous needle in his mouth. With a stern look in his eyes, Qin Feng's figure flashed and appeared in front of Yu Fuchen in the next moment. Yu Fuchen's eyes revealed a trace of panic. Qin Feng actually dodged that poisonous needle. No, I can't fight him with brute force. I can only use my wits. Return to the Tianyi prefecture and rely on the restrictions and mechanisms there to kill this kid. With a sinister look in his eyes, Yu Fuchen's figure shook and soared into the sky like a phantom. His figure was like a swimming dragon. Trying to run? Qin Feng's speed increased drastically and appeared behind Yu Fuchen in the next moment. His 5 fingers were like lightning as he grabbed onto one of Yu Fuchen's legs. He grabbed onto the tail of this swimming dragon. Not good! Yu Fuchen's eyes twitched violently. With a sinister smile in his eyes, Qin Feng grabbed onto the leg with one hand and smashed it into the ground at a 180-degree angle. Yu Fuchen's figure soared into the sky. His eyes flashed with panic and fear. This was the first time Yu Fuchen felt panic. Bang! The heavy object smashed onto the ground, causing the ground to shake. Yu Fuchen saw stars. His internal organs were in intense pain. Forcefully enduring the pain, Yu Fuchen circulated the water attribute true power in his body and tried his best to shake off that pair of iron-like hands. Not bad. Again. With a sinister smile in his eyes, Qin Feng did not give Yu Fuchen any chance. He lifted Yu Fuchen's leg and smashed him into the ground again. Bang! Yu Fuchen spat out a mouthful of blood. His true power was scattered and his crown was broken. Boom, 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 boom. One after another, Qin Feng swung Yu Fuchen's leg like a windmill, charging into the Tianyi prefecture. Using Yu Fuchen as a human rod, he smashed everything in his path. He smashed everyone he met, and smashed everything he met. Cruel and tyrannical. The woman was so scared that her face turned pale. With the strength of one person, the entire Tianyi prefecture was flattened. Bang! A figure crashed onto the ground like a cannonball. Pucci! Yu Fuchen rolled on the ground like a dead fish. He lay there motionless. His eyes were unfocused, and his chest was heaving up and down. Blood was flowing out of his mouth. Even without looking, the woman knew that all of Yu Fuchen's ribs had been shattered, and his organs had been displaced. If not for the fact that the physique of a meridian condensation stage martial artist was much stronger than ordinary people and had a tenacious vitality, Yu Fuchen would have been smashed to death. With a flash, Qin Feng appeared in front of the woman. Everything that could be smashed in the Tianyi prefecture had been smashed. The only person left standing in the Tianyi prefecture was this woman. He glanced at Jade Fuchen, who had already fainted. Qin Feng's eyes, which were as cold as a blade, fell on the body of the woman in the palace dress. Who are you to Yu Fuchen? Are you his sweetheart? Qin Feng's eyes were unfriendly. What sweetheart? The woman took half a step back, and then a trace of anger appeared in her beautiful eyes. Just as she was about to flare up, she remembered how cruel this young man was, and a trace of uneasiness flashed across her face. The woman forced herself to calm down and said, "Junior brother, please don't misunderstand. I am Dongfang Qingli, the master of Surging Wave Cave at Jade Wave Lake, 100 miles away from this mountain. Yu Fuchen and I are just acquaintances. This time, I came to ask him for a 1,000-year-old water spirit pearl." Looking at the immobile Yu Fuchen, Dongfang Qingli couldn't bear to see him like this. Junior brother, although I don't know what grudges you have with Yu Fuchen, we are still brothers and sisters of the same sect. Why do you have to be so cruel? Brothers and sisters of the same sect. Qin Feng laughed, then suddenly pointed at Yu Fuchen under his feet. Why don't you ask him why he didn't consider that we were from the same sect when he was scheming against me and making enemies for me? Jin Xiao Wang, Ao Feng, Wei Qing Huang, and that expert who used the chaotic divine melody to kill me. If I wasn't somewhat skilled, I would have been killed by them already. Even so, there are still a lot of troubles. There are still a lot of experts outside who are eyeing me covetously. Do you think I'll let this bastard off so easily? Qin Feng was furious. If it weren't for Yu Fuchen, he wouldn't have been in so much trouble. There was still that troublesome Ao Kuan outside, ready to deal with him at any moment. Qin Feng couldn't vent his anger. With a sharp glint in his eyes, he grabbed Yu Fuchen and slammed him to the ground again. Bang! A huge rock was smashed to pieces. Yu Fuchen was covered in blood, lying limply in a pile of rubble. Dongfang Qingli was silent. Dongfang Qingli was speechless. If it were her, she wouldn't have let it go after being schemed against like this either. Yu Fuchen, oh Yu Fuchen, I've already warned you. Schemes and tricks are just small tricks. Your own strength is the way to go. But you didn't listen. You schemed against me and acted recklessly. Dongfang Qingli retreated to the side. Coldly glancing at this absolute beauty, Qin Feng's eyes flickered with tyrannical fury. At least you know what's good for you. At this moment, if this woman dared to speak up for Yu Fuchen, Qin Feng would also cripple her. Qin Feng looked at Yu Fuchen. All Stars College strictly forbade killing each other. It was fine to severely injure this kid, but killing him would probably attract the attention of All Stars College. At that time, Qin Feng would be in trouble. This was the unspoken rule of All Stars College. Martial artists couldn't be without courage and fighting, but they definitely couldn't engage in killing. Otherwise, All Stars College would pursue this matter to the end. Yu Fuchen's vitality was abnormally strong. His originally slack eyes slowly gathered together as he stared at the black-robed youth in front of him. His eyes were as venomous as a cold star dagger, and his breathing was weak. Yu Fuchen took a deep breath and roared. Qin Feng, I, Yu Fuchen, swear that today's grudge will not rest until one of us is dead. It's either you die or I die. I've been fighting you for a long time. You don't have to say such harsh words. A trace of viciousness flashed in Qin Feng's eyes as he strode forward. A wisp of incomparably dark abyss demonic energy appeared in his palm from the abyssal demonic diagram. He stepped forward and pressed Yu Fuchen's head as the demonic energy quietly poured into the depths of Yu Fuchen's soul. This abyss demonic energy poured into the depths of Yu Fuchen's soul and would slowly cause Yu Fuchen to develop inner demons in the future. With this inner demon harassing him, unless Yu Fuchen could find a way to eliminate this inner demon in the future, it would be difficult for him to progress in his cultivation in the future. Qin Feng's sinister eyes met Yu Fuchen's venomous eyes as he casually threw the mud-like Yu Fuchen to the ground. Qin Feng didn't even look at Dongfang Qingli. His gaze swept across the Tianyi prefecture and finally landed on Snapper, who had fainted on the ground. Although Snapper was struck by Qin Feng's sword, she was only severely injured and fainted. Qin Feng found another 2 good-looking mermaids and wrapped the 3 of them up before turning into a black rainbow and leaving the celestial lake. Yu Fuchen, I'll take these 3 mermaids as compensation for scheming against me. If he dares to scheme against me again in the future, be careful of your worthless life. He could only watch as Qin Feng took Snapper and the 2 good-looking mermaids away. Yu Fuchen was so angry that he vomited blood. Yu Fuchen didn't care about the other 2 mermaids, but Snapper was a furnace that he had nurtured for more than 10 years. He had protected himself for more than 10 years and used a secret technique to strengthen his foundation. Snapper had offered herself to him many times, but he had held back. This time, she was actually taken away by Qin Feng. Yu Fuchen's face turned purple as he suddenly spat out a mouthful of black blood. He couldn't take the blow anymore and fainted. This chapter was originally supposed to be published when the author got off work at midnight. Just now, a reader tipped me, so I squeezed out some time to publish it in advance. Here, I'd like to congratulate the second meridian condensation cultivator in this book. The second update will be in the afternoon, and the third update will be in the evening. Now, this book has advanced by another rank and is now ranked 12th. It's only a little bit away from the top 10. The top 10 have 5 updates every day, and the top 5 have 10 updates every day. Good luck, everyone. Chapter 231. Sky in Cauldron. After capturing Snapper, Qin Feng realized that this unconscious girl actually had the Sky in condensed charm physique. Qin Feng was pleasantly surprised. What was the Sky in condensed charm physique? It was an innate pure in physique. Such a girl was naturally rich in essence, and was the best cauldron for dual cultivation. Furthermore, the Sky in condensed charm physique was blessed by the heavens. It could interact with impure qi without being contaminated, and could purify it on its own. It could even automatically condense qi and increase its effectiveness. Snapper was still a virgin. It was obvious that Yu Fuchen was still waiting for the best moment to pluck Snapper's virgin body and break through to the sea of reincarnation realm. What an unexpected surprise! As expected, a horse won't grow fat without extra feed. A person who can strut around and act high and mighty must have some assets. If I plunder more, there might be an unexpected surprise. Qin Feng flew out and appeared on a hill in the periphery of the Great Lake. He revealed a trace of joy as he grabbed Snapper and the other 2 mermaids. He immediately opened up the Jade Sea Heaven and Earth and stuffed the 3 girls inside. He would train them properly when he returned to the Scarlet Sky Peak. The Sky in Cauldron was a complete waste in the hands of Yu Fuchen, but it was different in the hands of Qin Feng. Qin Feng was proficient in the Tao of medicine and was an alchemy grandmaster. After a period of nurturing, Qin Feng was confident that he could maximize the effects of the Sky in Cauldron. When that time came, he would pluck this girl's virgin primordial yin and would definitely obtain unimaginable benefit. What a pity! Although the Sky Water Lake contains many water attribute spiritual herbs and precious water spirit pearls, it is still the property of All Stars College. Plundering Yu Fuchen wouldn't be a problem, but if he were to plunder All Stars College, the people of All Stars College would probably jump out immediately. At this moment, Qin Feng raised his head and looked up. Chirp chirp. There was a crisp chirp in the sky. Qin Feng's figure flashed and appeared in the sea of clouds. A pair of snow-white wings spread out as he landed on the white jade ice sparrow. Croak croak, Brother Feng, how was the harvest this time? Lord Ba stared at Qin Feng with his 2 bird eyes. His small eyes were rolling around. Qin Feng glared at Lord Ba and lowered his head to think. The white jade ice sparrow spread its wings and accelerated towards the capital of stars. Standing on the back of the ice sparrow, Qin Feng thought to himself expressionlessly. Yu Fuchen, the hidden danger, has finally been removed. Although I didn't kill Yu Fuchen directly this time, Yu Fuchen will need at least half a year to recover from his injuries. Moreover, with the inner demon keeping him in check, unless this person can eliminate the inner demon with great willpower, he is no longer a threat. The current plan is to find a way to increase my cultivation. There's still half a month until the Hidden Dragon Point competition officially begins. This time, not only will there be new powerhouses, but there will also be powerhouses of the second years. 2 years of geniuses will be participating in this grand event. There will definitely be some powerhouses of the second years that have already entered the pulse condensation period. Although Qin Feng was conceited, he was not arrogant. These days, Luan Xiaochuan and the others had collected some information about the 4 heads of the second years, as well as some other young powerhouses. Not to mention the 4 heads of the second years, just the strength of the second years under the 4 heads were not below Qin Feng, the 4 heads of the new students. Qin Feng's eyes fell on the North Deep Godly Water sword on his back. It was not realistic to increase his strength and break through the 13th level of the martial path in half a month. However, it was not impossible to increase his battle strength in a short period of time. Qin Feng had already understood the advanced stage Spirit Martial Realm Sword technique, the Gung Metal Sword technique. However, Qin Feng felt that this high-class Spirit Martial level sword technique was not as simple as just killing insects. Previously, Qin Feng had already comprehended some of the mysteries of the Spirit Martial technique. This sword technique was very likely a set of mysterious sword techniques that could allow one to control a spiritual sword and fly in the sky. Let's give it a try. If I can control the sword and fly in the sky, there will be a qualitative change in my strength. Although Qin Feng had his suspicions, he had not tried it for a short period of time. Now it might be an opportunity. Eager to try, Qin Feng looked down. Below the white jade ice sparrow was a sea of clouds. If he fell, he would be smashed to pieces. This trace of worry only circled around Qin Feng's heart for a moment before it was thrown away by Qin Feng. Qin Feng never lacked the courage to try. Gung Metal Sword Technique, Unsheath. Clang clang. Multitasking, Qin Feng poured a part of his spiritual imprint into the North Deep Godly Water sword on his back. A cold light flew out from his back. In an instant, it turned into a stream of light that surrounded Qin Feng. Qin Feng's spiritual imprint merged with the North Deep Godly Water sword, as if it had become one with the sword. With a leap, he jumped onto the North Deep Godly Water sword. In an instant, the North Deep Godly Water sword lost its balance. Qin Feng wrapped around the North Deep Godly Water sword and fell rapidly. Qin Feng tried his best to circulate the Gung Metal Sword technique, trying to control the North Deep Godly Water sword with the sword technique. The North Deep Godly Water sword responded as if it had sensed something. However, the speed of the man and sword falling was too fast. Just as they were about to be smashed into meat paste, the white jade ice sparrow in the sky spread its wings and caught the falling man and sword. Again, Qin Feng felt something. However, the second attempt still failed. Again, riding the white jade ice sparrow back to the sky, Qin Feng tried again. Qin Feng felt more and more like it. However, he still failed. Again. This was already the 121st attempt. As his body fell, Qin Feng finally comprehended some of the mysteries of sword kinesis flight. Qin Feng discovered that to be able to enter the realm of sword kinesis flight, there were 2 major obstacles. The first was a spirit sword. Ordinary treasured swords could not allow martial artists to fly in the sky. Spirit swords were rarely seen in the world. This was the first obstacle. The second was a set of sword techniques that could control spirit swords. Spirit swords usually possessed extraordinary power. Without a matching sword technique, there was no way to unleash the spirit sword's power. The Gung Metal Sword technique just so happened to be such a set of sword techniques that could control spirit swords, especially above the 10th level. As long as one cultivated above the 10th level, they would possess a portion of the sword kinesis flight ability. Qin Feng cultivated the Gung Metal Sword technique to the 12th level of perfection. In reality, he had already broken through the realm of sword kinesis flight. It was just that Qin Feng did not know it yet. Circulating according to the Gung Metal Sword technique's 12th level, Qin Feng instantly controlled the North Deep Godly Water sword. This was a completely new control method. It was different from the simple slashing and stabbing of the past. Qin Feng entered a new world. Qin Feng greedily comprehended the profoundness of the sword Tao within. So spirit swords can be used like this? An indescribable feeling arose in Qin Feng's heart. Every minute and every moment had a completely new comprehension. Just as Qin Feng comprehended all the profoundness of sword kinesis flight, Qin Feng's figure wrapped around the north deep godly water sword and plummeted towards the ground like a meteor. Whoosh! Whoosh! Seeing that he was about to fall to the ground, the white jade ice sparrow could not help but want to go forward and grab Qin Feng. Suddenly, the north deep godly water sword erupted with a layer of sword light, enveloping Qin Feng's figure and turning into a stream of light that charged into the clouds once again. Quack! Luckily, he didn't fall to his death. Scared Lord 8 to death. On the back of the white jade ice sparrow, Lord 8 patted his small chest. Big Brother Feng really knows how to play. Standing on the north deep godly water sword, Qin Feng suddenly circulated the gung metal slaughter sword art. His 10 fingers intersected and rapidly formed hand seals. Boom! Qin Feng's aura shook. Gung metal slaughter, level 10. The north deep godly water sword beneath his feet emitted an icy blue brilliance and suddenly split into two, turning into 2 identical north deep godly water swords. Again, level 11. Qin Feng's hand seals changed again, and the north deep godly water swords turned from 2 to 4. Gung metal slaughter sword art, level 12. Qin Feng's hand seals were completed, and a surge of soaring sword qi erupted. The north deep godly water swords revolving around him turned from 4 to 8. The 8 north deep godly water swords revolved around Qin Feng and appeared behind Qin Feng. It was as though Qin Feng was controlling 8 spirit swords by himself. Standing on the north deep godly water swords, Ling Yun moved as fast as lightning. Qin Feng's eyes revealed a trace of sharp light. Only now did Qin Feng know that he had truly mastered the gung metal slaughter sword art, level 12. The gung metal slaughter sword art was not just a sword art used to kill insects in the herb garden. It was a set of high-grade sword art that could truly control spirit swords to kill enemies. This sword art was a little strange. Without a spirit sword, the power of this sword art could only be used to kill insects. But if it was paired with a real spirit sword, the power of this sword art would become unimaginable. I just got off work, the second update is a little later, and there is a third update tonight. Also, congratulations to the birth of the third meridian condensation stage expert in this book. Congratulations to him. Sprinkle flowers, let's talk about the update rules. 10,000 book coins plus 1 update, 100,000 book coins plus 10 updates. 10,000 book coins is about 100, 100,000 book coins is 1,000 also. Those in the top 10 will get 5 updates a day, and those in the top 5 will get 10 updates a day. Right now I'm ranked 12th, just a little bit more. Chapter 232. In the sea of clouds, a blue light streaked across the sky. Brother Feng, you're too fast, wait for us. After the blue light, a huge white bird flew over. This white bird already had the shape of a phoenix. It seemed to be a snow-white phoenix, and when it flew, it brought with it a sharp chill. The most surprising thing was that this white bird also had a strange bird that was making a fuss. With a turn of his body, a black robe appeared from the clouds. Qin Feng stepped on the northern underworld godly water sword and appeared in the sky above the capital of stars. In the distance, an inconceivably huge city appeared in his eyes. Majestic and majestic, towering and straight. This terrifying giant city exuded a majestic aura. He had arrived at the capital of stars. The speed of the imperial sword flight was beyond Qin Feng's imagination. This speed was not slower than some flying beasts that were known for their speed. Let's go to the southern flower gate. All Stars College had set up a heavenly gate on the cloud platform in the distance. Generally speaking, martial experts who flew here would have to enter through this gate. If one directly charged into the capital of stars, they would be seen as a provocation by the experts of All Stars College. At best, they would be suppressed by the experts, but at worst they might be killed on the spot. The southern flower gate stood above the sea of clouds. This was a floating island, floating in the vast sea of clouds. A majestic giant gate stood above the island. Southern flower gate. From afar, a majestic aura could be felt, as if it came from the immemorial era. Two lazy youths carrying two large sabers were leaning against the gate, checking the tokens of the experts passing by. Beside the two, there was a group of star soldiers and star generals surging with killing intent. It seemed that the inspection of the experts passing by was very thorough. The two in the lead were dressed in armor. Although they were lazy, their bodies emitted a killing intent. This was the aura of an expert who had killed his way out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. These were the true elites of All Stars College. In the past, although the Southern Flower Gate also inspected people, it was never this strict. The atmosphere is a bit strange. Did something happen at the capital of stars? Qin Feng thought to himself with a serious expression. In front of the South Flower Gate, several experts descended from the surrounding sea of clouds, either riding strange beasts or carrying weapons on their back. Hearing a sound coming from the sea of clouds, he looked up and saw a black-robed youth flying out of the sea of clouds on a spirit sword. Behind the black-robed youth, a large snow-white bird gracefully descended. Riding a flying sword? What a young man! I wonder where he is from? A middle-aged man riding a black tiger looked at the black-robed young man with interest. Flying on a sword, it must be another expert in the way of the sword. Behind him, a tall and beautiful woman in red with a charming face and a provocative figure smiled sweetly. She smiled. They should also be here for the Hidden Dragon Points competition. These days, many young experts are rushing over to the capital of stars. I heard that a few more stars were lit up on the myriad stars steel a few days ago. Oh, is that so? The eyes of the middle-aged man on the black tiger lit up. Do you know what star it is? What are its attributes? One of the two youths who were in charge of guarding the gate took a look at the token of the middle-aged man on the tiger and urged, "Okay, let's go quickly. Don't block the gate." Not long after, the beautiful woman in red passed the inspection. "Junior brother, it's your turn. Please take out your myriad stars token or your identity jade butterfly." One of the youths in armor looked at the black-robed youth. Qin Feng moved slightly and a silver-white token appeared on his palm. The youth took the token and closed his eyes slightly. After a while, he opened his eyes with a slightly moved expression and a gentle expression. The youth returned the token to Qin Feng and said with a smile, "So it's the cave master of the Scarlet Sky Peaks Jade Water Cave. Junior brother, please pass." Qin Feng nodded and was about to walk slowly. Suddenly, Qin Feng raised his eyebrows and stopped in his tracks. He turned his head and asked with a smile, "May I ask this senior brother, did something happen in the capital of stars? Why did the inspection here suddenly become so strict?" With a serious expression, the youth frowned and looked at Qin Feng. After pondering for a moment, the youth suddenly said, "Well, junior brother is an elite of our All-Stars College, so I won't hide it from you. This time, there is indeed a small situation. According to the intelligence of the All-Stars College, it seems that a small group of experts from the Demon Temple have sneaked into the capital of stars. Their intentions are unknown." The Demon Temple. Qin Feng's expression changed slightly and he was shocked. The Demon Temple was an ancient first-rate faction in the domain of desolation. It was unknown how long ago it was born, but it was a colossus in the domain of desolation. It was the overlord of the domain of desolation. It was rumored that this faction was formed by the foreign races and some ancient demon god races. This faction had always been the sworn enemy of All Stars College. The two could be said to be like fire and water. After fighting for several thousand years, the blood feud accumulated would not end until one of them died. The Demon Temple and the Myriad Star Academy were engaged in bloody battles at almost every moment. It was just that the big battles were in front of them. All Stars College had a ranking called the Demon Hunting Ranking. There were many demon hunting missions that targeted the experts of the Demon Temple. However, in these years, with the birth of the 3 enclosures of All Stars College, the offensive and defensive positions of the two sides had swapped. In the past, the two sides were evenly matched, but in these years, All Stars College had gradually gained the upper hand. The experts of the Demon Temple had been blocked 10,000 miles away for several hundred years. The capital of stars had not seen any traces of the Demon Temple's spies for several hundred years. Coincidentally, the Hidden Dragon Point competition is starting, and there are actually spies from the Demon Temple appearing. Looks like it's going to be another period of trouble. Qin Feng was sensitive enough to smell the pressure before the storm. His figure flashed and he left the South Flower Gate. He flew on his sword toward the Mystic Guild's territory. An hour later, Qin Feng arrived at the central street where All Stars College was located. Flying was not allowed here, so Qin Feng placed Silly Bird in the Jade Sea Heaven and Earth. Qin Feng brought Ba Yi alone to All Stars College. Qin Feng was prepared to receive the second level of the Art of the Origin Stars first. Just as he walked into All Stars College, Qin Feng heard discussions in 2s and 3s at the entrance. Qin Feng was attracted by the whispers of a few people. A few days ago, the Star Steel had a strange phenomenon. A new Star Lord was born. I heard that someone in this batch of new students condensed a natal star mark. Does the star ranking show the names of those Star Lords? Not really. As everyone knows, unless the Star Lord voluntarily reveals their name and information, only their stars will be shown on the star ranking. I also heard about this. This time, it seems that more than 10 stars have a new Star Lord. It can't be that exaggerated, right? It hasn't even been 10 days since the first comprehensive assessment, and more than 10 stars suddenly appeared on the star ranking. Could it be that more than 10 people condensed a natal star mark together in 10 days? Isn't this too exaggerated? There are so many monstrous geniuses in this batch. Not only that, 2 golden stars appeared on the star ranking at the same time. 3 purple stars. One of them shouted, "That's impossible!" As everyone knows, the colors emitted by the stars on the Star Steel are divided into 3 grades. According to the star's appearance, the lowest grade is white, the next grade is silver, the highest grade is purple, and the highest grade is gold. That golden star was of the best quality. It's 1 in 10,000, the leader of all stars, the commander of all stars. How can 2 stars appear at the same time? Requesting recommendation votes, requesting collection. My ranking is still 12th, always lacking by a bit. Chapter 233. The Star Steel was an ancient steel that had existed since ancient times. Every time a powerful person from All Stars College condensed a life star, the steel would sense it and automatically appear on the list. Qin Feng slowed down and followed them into All Stars College. He heard someone say proudly, "Of course it's true. I saw it with my own eyes. I even went to the Star Steel to take a closer look. It's true." Then what are those 2 golden stars? Someone couldn't help but be curious. Many people's gazes were attracted by their conversation and landed on that person. That young man became even more proud. He raised his head and deliberately raised his voice. If one were to say that these 2 stars are one ice and one fire, then the other is fire. The ice star is the king of ice, the ice soul star, and the fire star is the king of fire, the Suzaku star. Both are the most superior chief stars. What? Both are chief stars? Someone clicked his tongue. They are really amazing. They are actually 2 chief stars. Among the most superior stars, chief stars are known for their tyrannical power. With the power of the ice and fire chief stars, the strength of these 2 star lords will increase greatly. Someone said with envy. It's not just that. The potential of a golden star is incomparable to that of other stars. They might even have a chance to become an ancient master star. An ancient master star could suppress an entire region. Rumor had it that there were only 14 ancient master stars in the sky. Every time one of them returned, there would be one less spot. If all 14 of them were complete, then no matter how strong the others were, they would all be auxiliary stars. It's actually the Ice Soul Star and Suzaku Star? Qin Feng felt a bit strange as he listened to their conversation from afar. Logically speaking, Qin Feng should have condensed a life star as well. Also, his life star was the most terrifying star. According to its quality, it should be one of the golden stars. Why didn't the star steel show his god-slaying star? However, if the Ice Soul Star's Star Lord guessed correctly, it should be those two. Only those two have the talent to be able to attract the resonance of the golden star. Qin Feng guessed. Ice Fire Chief Star? It is said that there are a lot of new students who cultivate ice and fire, but there shouldn't be many who can condense their life stars in such a short time. Some of the youths seem to be deep in thought. Actually, there's no need to guess the answer. This year, it's not rare to see people cultivating the power of ice and fire, but there are only a few outstanding ones among them. Among the fire attribute power, the most stunning one is undoubtedly the vermilion bird's head, Ji Huang and the chief of the ice attribute power should be that glacier fairy, Lu Qingxue. Another person voiced out the thoughts of the majority. That's right. If I'm not wrong, then the Vermilion Bird Star Lord should be Ji Huang and the other Ice Soul Star Lord should be the Glacier Fairy, Lu Qingxue. Qin Feng's eyes flickered. He turned around and walked toward the Technique Imparting Hall. Just as Qin Feng entered the capital of stars. In a luxurious mansion in the capital of stars, there was a person dressed in a black robe, who was hidden in the shadows reporting to a beautiful woman dressed in a gorgeous long robe. This beautiful woman was tall, slender, and slightly plump. Her temperament was luxurious and dignified, and her clothes were gorgeous, causing others to have a feeling that she was unattainable. If there were any dignitaries in the capital of stars here, they would definitely recognize the true identity of this beautiful woman. The Shao clan, the rising mistress of the Shao clan in the capital of stars. It was precisely this resourceful, exquisite, and famous mistress that allowed the Shao clan to pick up the ancient glory of a 1,000-year-old clan from a clan that was gradually declining. Moreover, it grew stronger with each passing day, becoming one of the top 10 clans in the capital of stars. This beautiful mistress was a legend in the capital of stars, especially her beautiful appearance and outstanding figure. Currently, the most popular rumors in the streets were the affairs of this beautiful mistress. In the pavilion in the garden, Mistress Zhao's beautiful eyes were flowing. She was tall and slender, and her luxurious temperament made people unable to bear to blaspheme her. Looking at the sea of clouds in the distant sky, the golden sunlight shone on Mistress Zhao's beautiful and slender figure, setting off her tall and beautiful body, making her look like a goddess in the sky. The black-robed person was hidden in the shadows under the sunlight. Lady Flower Empress, everything is ready. We only lack the east wind. The black-robed person laughed strangely. Flower Empress, if this matter can be completed in one go, then you and I will have made a great contribution to the temple. But Flower Empress, this matter is not a small matter. It concerns our lives and future. Did you really figure out where the Hidden Dragon Point competition will be held? This time, All Stars College has chosen dozens of areas to be the venue for the competition. Those old fogies from All Stars College deliberately set up a maze. It's really hard to guess where the competition will be held this time. Don't worry, this Empress will not make a mistake. But if this matter succeeds, I'm afraid that this Empress' 10 years of operation in the capital of stars will turn into flowing water. The beautiful woman's eyes revealed a trace of regret. Lady Flower Empress, don't worry. This time, if we can capture all the geniuses from All Stars College participating in the Hidden Dragon Point competition, the temple will naturally make up for our losses. The black-robed person smiled sinisterly and licked his dry lips. His eyes occasionally swept over the beautiful woman, revealing a trace of secret lust. Lowering his head, the black-robed person's dark green eyes flickered. I hope so. Otherwise, this Empress will definitely not be a pushover. The beautiful woman's face revealed a trace of frost. Hee, Lady Flower Empress, don't worry. Emperor's eyes revealed a trace of a sneer. He then raised his head and said sinisterly, "But this time, it can also be said that our luck has come. This time, the number of monstrous geniuses participating in the Hidden Dragon Points competition is the highest in history. If we can kill all of them, then the Myriad Star Academy will suffer an unprecedented loss." Emperor, don't be too optimistic. All Stars College is definitely not easy to deal with. You and I both know the strength of All Stars College. Moreover, All Stars College has the backing of experts from Xingqian School. This time, if we want to succeed, we still need the help of the elders. But even so, this Empress estimates that we can only delay it for 7 days. Emperor's dark green eyes were sinister as he laughed sinisterly. 7 days is completely enough. It's just a bunch of brats. With this old man taking action, I will definitely kill all of them. Flower Empress saw the unconcealable lust in Emperor's eyes. Her beautiful eyes were instinctively filled with displeasure as she thought to herself, "This Emperor is really a perverted demon. This time, I definitely can't let him take action alone. If I let him lead the team alone, it will most likely cause problems." Flower Empress knew that this time's operation was not ordinary. Not only did the elders of the temple hope to kill All Stars College's elites in one fell swoop, they also hoped to use All Stars College's elites to temper some of the temple's younger generation experts. They hoped to use All Stars College's elites as whetstones to temper a group of true peerless geniuses. In the afternoon, Qin Feng walked out of the law teaching hall. Relying on the All Stars token, Qin Feng painfully paid 100 points and 10 merit points. Qin Feng successfully received the second stage of the Art of the Star's Origin. The first stage of the Art of the Star's Origin was free. But after the second stage, one had to pay points and merit points to purchase it. The second stage of the Art of the Star's Origin cost 100 points and 10 merit points. Qin Feng glanced at the price of the third level of the Art of Primordial Stars. It was 500 points and 50 merit points. As for the fourth stage of the Art of the Star's Origin, it was simply too expensive. It required 2,000 points and 200 merit points to exchange for it. As for the fifth stage of the Art of the Star's Origin, just looking at the string of zeros made Qin Feng dizzy. The price was simply too high to make one despair. This is the first update, the second update in the afternoon, and the third update in the evening. During this period of time, the fifth update will be temporarily stopped. It will be the third update. There will be a burst of 20 updates in the middle of next month. My character is guaranteed. I will let my brothers have a good time, looking for recommendation tickets. Collection, reward still the 12th place. Chapter 234. As for the sixth level of the Art of the Stars, in addition to the terrifying amount of points and merit points, one also needs special privileges and identity. Qin Feng bitterly smiled. At this moment, after purchasing the second level of the Art of the Stars, Qin Feng didn't have many points left. 533 points, except for the 400 points he used to buy the soul refining pill. This time, he used another 100 points, leaving him with only 33 points. His 20 merit points had been completely used up. Spending money like water. Qin Feng shook his head as he walked out of the teaching hall. In All Stars College, points are never enough to spend. It seems that I have to take some missions to fill my pockets. The light carriage shuttled through the wide roads of All Stars College. On both sides were quiet ancient trees. Students walked in groups of 2s and 3s. Many students were discussing the essence of martial arts. Qin Feng saw several martial arts halls. All Stars College's martial arts powerhouses were teaching tyrannical martial arts, saber arts, sword arts, and whip arts. 18 types of weapons. These halls were very lively. Gale sword art. This is a human martial level middle grade sword art. This sword art is known for its dexterity. The emphasis is on the speed of the sword. The wrist must be flexible, the feet must be light, and the sword must be fast. On the stage, a pulse condensation stage martial artist was explaining. At the same time, a long sword danced in his hand like a gust of wind. Many new students were mesmerized by this. Many new students would often come here to listen to some martial arts experts teach them the essentials of martial arts and seek answers to their questions. When Qin Feng passed by, he only stopped to listen for a moment and then left. Most of the martial arts teaching in the martial arts lecture hall were human martial level martial arts techniques, and profound martial arts techniques required students to spend points in order to learn. Qin Feng walked to the small path. Looking at the youthful figures, it was as if he saw himself in his previous life. For the cultivation method, for the immortality of martial arts, he worked tirelessly. Qin Feng still remembered that in order to break through to the pulse condensation period, he had gone to a place where the disciples of a large sect roamed. He had killed dozens of large sect disciples in order to obtain the method to break through to the pulse condensation period from their mouth. Because of this, Qin Feng had been chased by this sect for over 100 years. Qin Feng prepared to leave All Stars College. When they passed by the Battle God Arena, they suddenly heard a series of exclamations coming from the arena. Many students in the surroundings hurried towards the arena. Qin Feng's gaze landed in the direction of the Martial God Arena. This was the place where the geniuses of All Stars College tested their martial Tao. There were many ways for martial artists to verify their strength, but there was only one way that was the most direct. Battle. By stimulating one's potential in battle, one would be able to complete a breakthrough. Are there any experts fighting here? Qin Feng was curious. Junior sister, may I ask what's going on at the Battle God Arena? Why is it so lively? Qin Feng grabbed a young girl who was rushing over. This was a young girl in green clothes with small freckles. She was a little unhappy when someone suddenly grabbed her. Turning her head, she quickly froze. Qin Feng looked at the young girl strangely. Her gaze fell on him, and he suddenly returned a smile. The young man had a delicate appearance and wore a black robe. His originally cold aura had a trace of warmth and brilliance when he smiled, as if spring had returned to the earth and the cold winter had melted. Although his age was similar to the other students, with a trace of immaturity, there was a faint special smell on him that the other students did not have. The young girl's face was a little red. Her original anger had been replaced with a trace of shyness. Why aren't you talking? Qin Feng looked at the young girl whose face had suddenly turned red and whose head had lowered to her chest. No. The young girl was a little flustered and stammered. Senior brother, there is a life and death battle in the Battle God Arena. A life and death battle. This was a fight to the death. All Stars College forbade fellow disciples from killing each other, but if there was a great enmity between them, they could apply for a life and death battle at the same time. On the arena it was either you or me. Life and death. This was the bloodiest battle. This life and death battle is extremely rare. Who is it that insists on fighting to the death? After pondering for a while, a trace of doubt appeared in his heart. His eyes moved slightly. Qin Feng turned and rushed towards the Battle God Arena. At this moment, the surroundings of the Martial God sparring arena were completely surrounded. There was a sea of people here. All Stars College martial artists, who had come to watch the battle, were all crowded around. When Qin Feng walked in, he heard some of the young people in the front row whispering. The difference is too big. This is simply a one-sided massacre. This freshman is simply crazy. He is challenging Aoshin, who is at the peak of the sixth heaven, with his fifth heaven cultivation base. It's too tragic. This Aoshin is deliberately torturing his opponent. At this moment, among the crowd, there were a few figures anxiously looking at the battle god arena. Their eyes looked around anxiously. After a while, their eyes suddenly revealed a trace of surprise. Chief Qin Feng. You are. Qin Feng looked at the few unfamiliar figures and was slightly stunned. Qin Feng did not have any impression of these young people. Qin Feng glanced at the few young people's robes. Looking at their clothes, they seemed to be the disciples of Tua Tua Courtyard. Tua Tua Courtyard, the place where All Stars College slaughtered berserk beasts. Chief Qin Feng, quickly think of a way to help Li Zhuang. Junior brother Li is about to die. One of the young people who seemed to be the leader said anxiously. Chief. The surrounding students were shocked. One by one, they turned around and looked at the black-robed young man who was walking over. It's Qin Feng, the new chief of the Azure Dragon College. Someone was surprised and stepped aside to make a path. Because of his relationship with the goddess of Glacier, Lu Qingxue, Qin Feng's reputation had spread far and wide. What's going on? His figure flashed and appeared in front of the group. Qin Feng frowned. Li Zhuang was one of Qin Feng's few friends in All Stars College. During the Shuiyu trial, Qin Feng, Lu Qinghe, and Lu Kenyang were enemies. Everyone kept a distance from him, afraid that they would be implicated by him. Only this young man stood by his side. Even the fact that Li Zhuang was able to enter Tota Courtyard was because of Qin Feng. It's Aoshin. Aoshin knew that junior brother Li liked Yuku'er, but he purposely got close to Yuku'er and repeatedly insulted junior brother Li in front of others. And that bitch Yuku'er. She knew that junior brother Li was infatuated with her, but she colluded with Aoshin to make junior brother Li fight to the death. The leader of the group said hatefully. Aoshin. Qin Feng smelled a hint of conspiracy. Qin Feng asked. Is this Aoshin a member of the Cloud-Water Empire's imperial family? Qin Feng's eyes are like torches. That's right. This Aoshin is a member of the Cloud-Water Empire's AO family. That bitch Yuku'er climbed the social ladder because she saw Aoshin's identity as a member of the imperial family. They are bent on killing junior brother Lia. The group of Tua Tua Courtyard's young men were indignant. All of a sudden, exclamations came from the crowd. Qin Feng raised his head and saw Li Zhuang's frail figure being kicked into the air. Li Zhuang fell to the ground with a loud bang. Li Zhuang raised his head unwillingly and spat out a mouthful of blood. A yellow-robed young man coldly stared at Li Zhuang. His eyes were filled with coldness and complacency. When he raised his head, he froze for a moment, as though he had discovered Qin Feng in the crowd. In the next instant, the corners of his mouth curled up into a cold arc provocation. Qin Feng frowned. No one was allowed to interfere in this kind of life and death battle. If one were to forcefully interfere, it would attract the interference of the experts from All Stars College. They could even kill the person who broke the rules. Qin Feng's face was gloomy. Could it be that he could only watch as Li Zhuang was defeated and killed? This is the second update, there will be another one later tonight. Just a little bit more and I'll be in the top 11. Chapter 235. It seems that this is a trap aimed at me. This Aoshin should be Aokoin's man. Li Zhuang should have been implicated by me. Looking at the gloomy and smug Aoshin, Qin Feng's eyes flashed, a trace of killing intent jumping in his eyes. Isn't this head Qin Feng? How rare! At this moment, a handsome and gloomy youth dressed in black walked over from the side. A group of black-clothed martial artists walked over, and the crowd automatically opened up a path. From the whispers of the crowd, Qin Feng knew the origin of this youth. This person was called Zhao Xianmeng, a very powerful warrior of the Five Elements battle squad. Zhao Xianmeng slowly walked over, her eyes cold and gloomy. She had blue eyes and white eyebrows. Behind her was a tall youth with cold eyes and a cruel murderous aura. These young martial artists' eyes were cold and filled with murderous intent. The weakest of them was at the pulse condensation period. The aura of the leader, Zhao Xianmeng, was above everyone else. The aura he emitted made Qin Feng feel strangely oppressed. A powerful aura gushed over, and Qin Feng felt a terrifying sense of danger. This person was very terrifying. Qin Feng felt that if he fought with this person, he would most likely be killed. 10% chance to escape, 10% chance to seriously injure or kill this person. Qin Feng coldly looked at him. Zhao Xianmeng, Ao Kuan's man? Zhao Xianmeng was very polite and very elegant. I am not talented, Ao Kuan, big brother Ao is my sworn brother. Zhao Xianmeng sized up Qin Feng, his gloomy eyes falling on Qin Feng. Qin Feng seemed to be stared at by a poisonous snake. Zhao Xianmeng cupped his hands and said seriously, I have heard of Sir Qin Feng for a long time. I heard that Sir Qin Feng relied on your strength to bully the weak and attacked young Master Ao Feng. Although young Master Ao Feng doesn't get along well with brother Ao, he's brother Ao's brother after all. Since Sir Qin Feng didn't give brother Ao face, brother Ao is magnanimous and doesn't want to bicker with you. However, as brother Ao's brother, I can't stand it. I've heard that this Li Zhuang is related to young Master Qin Feng. Originally, this Zhao was prepared to cut off this person's head as a gift for young Master Qin Feng, but since young Master Qin Feng has already arrived at the sparring field, there is no harm in personally accepting this gift. Zhao Xuanming's tone was neither fast nor slow. However, the meaning in his words was not the slightest bit cruel and vicious. Li Zhuang was one of Qin Feng's few good friends, and Zhao Xianmeng actually targeted Li Zhuang. A dragon has a reverse scale. Anyone who touches it will die. A trace of uncontrollable killing intent flashed across Qin Feng's face. Many of the All-Stars College students looked at this person with fear in their eyes. They retreated continuously, as if they were a scourge. This Zhao Xianmeng is so cruel and terrifying. His temperament is like that of a wolf. On a high ground in the martial god drill field, a beautiful woman in white robes looked around with a trace of displeasure in her eyes. This woman in white was none other than the goddess of glacier, Lu Qingxu. There were several Sky-Sea Pavilion experts beside Lu Qingxu. Hearing this, a pretty girl in a yellow palace dress said lightly, Junior Sister Lu, this Zhao Xianmeng is not simple. This person is a famous warrior in the Five Elements squad. He is tyrannical in strength and vicious in nature. He does things by hook or by crook. Coupled with his cruel methods, he has earned the title of Wolf King. Although he is only in the second meridian's condensation stage, many third and fourth meridian's condensation stage experts have suffered losses in his hands. If Junior Sister Lu encounters him, you must be careful. A trace of fear flashed across Lu Qingxue's eyes. This person's temperament was indeed terrifying. Zhao Xianmeng saw the murderous intent on Qin Feng's face and laughed. Brother Qin seems to really want to kill me. I advise Brother Qin to give up on this idea. You are not my opponent. Although you are the head of the new students of the Azure Dragon Institute and have a great reputation, in the eyes of us experts who have experienced many battles, you new students are really too immature. You are like sheep. If we enter the forest, killing you will be as easy as lifting a finger. Zhao Xuanming's face did not have the slightest trace of contempt, as if what he said was the truth. Qin Feng said to himself, a self-righteous pervert who thinks that he has killed some experts and mastered some method. You call yourself an expert, but in fact you are just an arrogant pervert. You have been blinded by power, and your mind is controlled by greed and killing. The devil in your heart has seeped into your internal organs. You will never be able to break through the sea of reincarnation realm in this lifetime. Qin Feng was not angry. Qin Feng had encountered many perverts who were overconfident like him. Undeniably, these perverts were indeed very powerful. Because of their stubbornness, they often achieved unimaginable achievements in a certain field. Qin Feng, your efforts are futile. You think you can shake my mind like this? You want me to spare Li Zhuang's life? You are too naive. No matter what, Li Zhuang will not be able to escape death today. Zhao Xianmeng squinted his eyes and glanced at Qin Feng. His body was still calm, but his eyes were getting colder and colder, like a hungry wolf in the mountains showing its killing intent. The faces of the few youths in the institute turned pale. But they were afraid of Zhao Xuanmeng's power and did not dare to speak. That may not be true. A sinister smile appeared in his eyes. Qin Feng turned around and his eyes fell on the martial god arena. At this moment, the battle between Li Zhuang and Aoshin on the martial god arena had reached its climax. Li Zhuang's weapon was a long saber on his back. He waved the long saber and tried his best to defend. What he used was a high human martial-level saber technique, clear wind chop. At this moment, Li Zhuang was already at a disadvantage. He was only at the 5th heaven of the martial path. Aoshin was a warrior at the peak of the 6th heaven of the martial path. He had an overwhelming advantage. Moreover, Aoshin had mastered many family secret techniques. On the arena, Li Zhuang was already seriously injured. His flesh was torn under his blood-stained clothes, and he coughed up blood several times. He was like a madman, using clear wind chop mechanically. Although Aoshin could not get close to him for the time being. But many of the experts present knew that once this saber technique was completed, his momentum would weaken and he would become a fish on the chopping board. Aoshin's expression was neither fast nor slow. His body was like a dragon shuttling under Li Zhuang's saber technique. He was like an experienced hunter staring at his prey. He could even pay attention to Zhao Xianmeng. The corner of his eyes occasionally fell on Qin Feng, with a trace of cruelty and ridicule. He was very proud. Looking at this scene, Zhao Xianmeng nodded slightly, and her probing gaze fell on Qin Feng. How is it? Your Excellency Qin Feng, are you satisfied with this greeting gift of mine? It's too early for you to be happy. So what if you're at the peak of the 6th heaven of the martial path? Although Li Zhuang is at a disadvantage, it's not like he has no chance of winning. Qin Feng shook his head. Do you believe that he can kill Aoshin with just one saber strike? Zhao Xianmeng smiled faintly. What a fool. On the arena, Aoshin heard Qin Feng's words. He glanced at the black-robed young man with a sneer in his eyes and disdain in his heart. What chief? He really doesn't know how to brag. Li Zhuang, even if I let him use one hand, he won't be able to hurt me. I think this chief is just SOSO. He doesn't live up to his reputation. Looking for recommendation votes, looking for collection. Chapter 236. Qin Feng looked at Aoshin coldly, and a set of saber techniques appeared in Qin Feng's mind. Supreme Demon Blade. This was a set of saber techniques recorded in the legendary Manual of Unruffled Sages. Techniques that could be recorded in the Manual of Unruffled Sages were naturally the best of the best. The Supreme Demon Blade had a shocking origin. This was a set of saber techniques that dominated the world. It was a forbidden technique. Rumor had it that an almighty once used this saber to split open the esophagus of the earth abyss and turned into a demon. In fact, in Qin Feng's opinion, this was a strange saber technique that consumed one's hatred, anger, and vitality as the price. With one slash, one would forget about the saber, forget about oneself, and forget about oneself. If one did not have great hatred in their heart, it would be difficult to execute such a move. Li Zhuang was betrayed by the woman he loved and was schemed against. He was in a desperate situation, so this saber technique was suitable for him. Most importantly, this saber technique could be mastered quickly. The stronger the hatred in one's heart, the faster one could comprehend it, and the more powerful it would be. Qin Feng controlled his mind and imprinted the essence of the Supreme Demon Blade's first move, the Heartless Saber, into Li Zhuang's mind. At this moment, Li Zhuang's saber was exhausted. Ao Shen saw the opportunity and smiled cruelly. His palms were infused with true qi, and like waves crashing on the shore, he aimed his palms at Li Zhuang's exposed chest. If Li Zhuang was hit by this attack, he would die without a doubt. Li Zhuang's eyes were filled with anger. The flames of unwillingness burned in his eyes, and his hatred solidified. In the distance, a few hundred steps away, a sweet-looking girl looked at this scene with a faint smile in her eyes. "Sister Yu, Brother Li is infatuated with you. Can you ask Brother Ao to let him go?" On the side, a cute girl in green walked up and tugged at Yuku Er's clothes, looking anxious. "Hua Qiong, this is between men. I can't do anything about it." Yuku Er's face was indifferent. She did not say anything and quietly shook off Hua Qiong's hand. Hua Qiong panicked. But Yuku frowned and interrupted coldly, "What but? Li Zhuang brought all of this upon himself. Who is he and who am I, Yuku? A disciple from a poor family wants to eat swan meat? Furthermore, I, Yuku, did not force him to enter the life and death arena. He is the one who wants to die. This lady cannot save him." Hua Qiong staggered a few times, her body unsteady. Raising his head, he saw that Ao Shen's palm had already reached Li Zhuang's chest. The young girl cried out in grief. The next moment, Li Zhuang was about to leave the arena. It was gloomy, mournful, and carried a trace of crazy hatred that would not rest until one of them was dead. A saber light flashed by. Ao Shen's charging figure stopped, and his cold face froze. Boom! There was a loud explosion, and in the next moment, his body exploded into a bloody mist, and his limbs were torn into pieces. Li Zhuang appeared 10 steps away. Ao Shen was dead. Whoosh whoosh. The entire martial god teaching field instantly fell silent. Reversal. A shocking reversal. The entire place was shaken, and everyone was silent. Everyone's eyes fell on Li Zhuang, and their eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. The saber light that could demonize everything was still in front of them. With one slash, the sky was demonized. A moment later, the entire martial god teaching field exploded, and everyone's eyes fell on Li Zhuang. What kind of saber technique is that? What a terrifying saber light! He killed the arrogant Ao Shen with one slash. What a crazy saber intent! I saw a scalp-tingling intent from it. It hated the heavens, the earth, and the heavens. That kind of saber intent made it hard for people to breathe. This Li Zhuang pretended to be a pig to eat the tiger, and left a trump card. On the spectator stand, Yuku-er's face turned pale. Ao Shen was dead? Crack! Zhao Xianmeng clenched his fists, and his eyes fell on Ao Shen, and a crazy aura burst out. "It's you, Qin Feng, how dare you interfere in a battle of life and death?" The coldness in Zhao Xuanmeng's eyes was so real that it was about to burst out. Zhao Xianmeng lost his composure for the first time. Ao Shen was dead. Ao Shen was different from Ao Feng. Ao Shen was the younger brother of Ao Kun. This time, Zhao Xianmeng had calculated everything, and it was foolproof. He used Yuku to anger Li Zhuang, and then used the opportunity to kill Li Zhuang, and then enrage Qin Feng, and then set up a trap to kill this popular chief. Who would have thought that the first part of the plan would fail? The foolproof plan had a huge flaw. Zhao Xianmeng couldn't explain it to Ao Kun. Dog eyes. Qin Feng didn't seem to see Zhao Xuanmeng's terrifying wolf-like eyes. Zhao Xianmeng, don't be like a dog, biting people when you open your mouth. Qin Feng was tit for tat. If you have evidence, you can apply to the elders of All Stars College for a ruling. If you don't, then shut up. Don't let others see you as a mad dog, biting people when you see them. Zhao Xuanming's face became colder. Qin Feng, if you have the guts, then fight me to the death with the martial god. Tilting his head, Qin Feng looked at Zhao Xianmeng with a cold smile. Qin Feng's eyes fell on Zhao Xianmeng. If you have the guts, then castrate yourself. Your IQ is really worrying. You are a strong second year, and I am just a new student of All Stars College. Do you think I will fight you to the death? There was a murderous aura on Zhao Xuanming's body. His face was green and red. For a moment, Zhao Xuanming's face was calm, but everyone knew that this young man was like a volcano that was about to erupt. Qin Feng, don't be too proud. I will wait for you at the Hidden Dragon Points competition. You better pray that you don't meet me, otherwise. Zhao Xianmeng let out a cold and sinister laugh. Qin Feng's figure flashed, and the next moment, he appeared on the martial god competition field. In a few steps, Qin Feng came in front of Li Zhuang. Li Zhuang held a long blade, kneeling on one knee on the ground, his face pale. A tragic victory. Thank you, Big Brother Qin. Li Zhuang's teeth were trembling, and the fire of life in his eyes was on the verge of collapse. Qin Feng knew that after Li Zhuang used this blade, the consumption of life force was too long, and at least 99 years of his 100 years of life had been consumed. Don't talk, don't worry, you won't die yet. Seeing Li Zhuang's appearance of wanting to say his last words, Qin Feng shook his head and took out a crystal-clear jade cup. 7 stars dragon spring water. A rich life essence surged in the jade cup, and the bright spirit light formed a roaring dragon. This is? In the distance, some martial arts experts who were about to leave the field sniffed, suddenly turned their heads, and their eyes fell on the jade cup. This is spirit spring water? And it's a kind of spirit spring water that contains rich life force. Around, many martial arts experts' eyes were shining, their eyes blazing. If they didn't know that this was All Stars College, they probably couldn't resist going up to snatch it. This Qin Feng is really mysterious. He even carries this level of spirit spring water with him. Lu Qingshue's beautiful eyes fell on Qin Feng, and her eyes flashed slightly, then she turned and left. After drinking a cup of 7 stars dragon spring water, Li Zhuang's pale face gradually recovered, and the wounds on his body were healing faster. Looking at the black-robed youth, Li Zhuang's lips trembled, and suddenly the corners of his eyes were a little wet, and a moment later he hurriedly wiped it with his sleeve. A man doesn't cry easily, it's only because he hasn't been hurt. Qin Feng helped the linen-clothed youth up. Get up, that woman is not suitable for you. Love and hate are all sins, the world spinning is the law, we are heartless. The second and third updates are in the afternoon. Chapter 237. Thank you, Big Brother Qin. Li Zhuang stood up, still looking a little weak. The supreme demon inverse saber was too evil. With just one slash, Li Zhuang was almost turned into a skeleton. However, Li Zhuang's body underwent a strange change before he died from the slash. Saber intent, supreme demon inverse saber intent. Li Zhuang actually comprehended a trace of supreme demon inverse saber intent. Looks like this is a blessing in disguise. Life and death are both terrifying and fortuitous. Once I completely digest this saber intent, there will be no bottleneck in the innate realm. As Qin Feng pondered in his heart, a smile appeared on his face. Li Zhuang. At this moment, a green figure flashed by. The girls hurried forward to help Li Zhuang up. The young girl sized up Li Zhuang from head to toe, her eyes filled with worry and concern. Hua Qiong. Li Zhuang was a little shy, his face flushed red. This silly boy is quite popular with women? Qin Feng chuckled and looked up. Li Zhuang, although I passed on the supreme demon inverse saber to you, this saber technique is extremely evil. If you haven't reached the Meridian's realm, it's best not to use it. Yes, big brother Qin. Li Zhuang looked up, his eyes filled with gratitude. Only those who truly understood the saber technique of the supreme demon inverse saber would know about this saber technique. Qin Feng actually passed on such a precious cultivation technique to him so easily. Li Zhuang's heart was indescribably moved. In addition, most of your lifespan was consumed by this saber. Although I used the 7 Stars Dragon spring water to replenish some of it, it can only extend your lifespan for 8 years. Within these 8 years, you have to find a way to extend your lifespan by yourself. Fortunately, All Stars College has a lot of spiritual herbs. As long as you can obtain points and merit points, you can exchange for them yourself. Qin Feng's voice was a little heavy. Although the Supreme Demon Inverse Saber was powerful, the side effects were too great. Hua Qiong's face turned pale instantly. Li Zhuang was very calm. Big brother Qin, don't worry. I'll think of a way. After going through the baptism of life and death, Li Zhuang had matured a lot. His expression revealed his determination. Suddenly, a figure pounced on Li Zhuang like a madman. A bone-piercing cold light. Li Zhuang, I want you to pay with your life for Big Brother Ao. With a slight movement, Qin Feng appeared in front of Li Zhuang in the next moment. He grabbed the neck of a pink-clothed girl with one hand, and the girl tried her best to brandish the dagger in her hand. He struggled with all his might. You're only at the 6th heavenly layer of the martial path, and you want to assassinate me? Qin Feng's eyes flashed with a cold light. His 5 fingers clutched the young girl's beautiful neck. The young girl's eyes were filled with bone-deep hatred as she stared at Li Zhuang. She wanted nothing more than to skin him alive, devour his flesh and drink his blood. Let me go, I want to kill that bastard Li Zhuang. The girl's hair was disheveled and her face was red. Qin Feng's 5 fingers were like an iron fist. No matter how she struggled, she couldn't break free. You Ku-er, Li Zhuang muttered as he stared blankly at the young girl. Why? Why do you want to kill me? Yu Ku-er's beautiful eyes were filled with bone-deep hatred as she cried out angrily. Why? Because you shouldn't be alive in the first place. You should die. Li Zhuang, why don't you die? Why do you want to kill Aoshin? Do you know that you've ruined everything for me? My wealth, my dream of becoming a prince's wife, everything is gone. Li Zhuang, tell me, why don't you die? Why is a bastard like you still alive? Li Zhuang retreated a few steps as if he was struck by lightning. His face was filled with despair. Yu Ku-er's words were like knives stabbing his heart a few more times. Let me go, let me go! Yu Ku-er screamed at Qin Feng. Pa! A slap landed on Yu Ku-er's face. Yu Ku-er's fair and delicate face quickly turned red and swollen. A clear palm print appeared on her cheek. You dare to hit me? Yu Ku-er looked at Qin Feng in disbelief. Of course I hit you. Qin Feng sneered. I'm not Li Zhuang. In Li Zhuang's eyes, you are his entire world. You are his everything. Even if you stab him with a knife, he won't dodge. But, in my eyes, you are nothing. Your face, your body, they are not enough for you to be so arrogant in front of me. Qin Feng tightened his grip. Yu Ku-er couldn't breathe properly and her throat was about to burst. Do you see that? You're not some princess. Not everyone will revolve around you like Li Zhuang. Qin Feng looked coldly at this self-righteous and selfish woman. Qin Feng felt that Li Zhuang wasn't worth it. Such a selfish woman was not worthy of love. She only had herself in her eyes and no one else. It was normal for others to treat her well. It was as if they were born to serve her. If there was even the slightest mistake, it would be a huge mistake. In Qin Feng's eyes, such a woman needed to be taught a lesson. Only when she was taught a lesson, only when the pain seeped into her bones, would she wake up. Qin Feng, you bastard. What right do you have to say that to me? What right do you have? Yu Ku-er screamed. Let me tell you what right do I have. Qin Feng's eyes flashed coldly. Strands of mixed element star qi pierced into Yu Ku-er's body like sharp swords. Qin Feng wanted to teach this woman a lesson. His mixed element star qi turned into a strand of sword qi. The violent sword qi rushed into Yu Ku'er's body. This violent impact was like a red-hot iron rushing into her tender meridians. This kind of pain was more intense than being sliced into pieces. Yu Ku'er screamed. In that instant, the intense pain made Yu Ku'er want to tear her body apart and commit suicide. Yu Ku'er's eyes revealed a trace of fear. This was the first time Yu Ku'er had met such a man. In this man's eyes, she saw coldness and ruthlessness. Her beautiful face lost its effect for the first time. Yu Ku'er's eyes flashed with a trace of hatred. The dagger in her hand slashed towards Qin Feng. Still not obedient. Baring your fangs and brandishing your claws, I'll break your claws. Qin Feng sneered. His hand grabbed Yu Ku'er's wrist like lightning. With a forceful squeeze, Yu Ku'er's wrist was crushed. The intense pain made Yu Ku'er scream. Her pitiful scream woke Li Zhuang up. Li Zhuang raised his head and saw Yu Ku'er's twisted face. His eyes revealed a trace of extreme pain. After a while, he looked at Qin Feng and said softly, "Brother Qin, let her go." Qin Feng thought for a while. After a while, he used his strength and flung Yu Ku'er's body away. With a bang, Yu Ku'er's body rolled to the ground. Li Zhuang wanted to say something but stopped. After a while, he closed his eyes. A trace of pain flashed in his eyes. He turned and left without looking back. Hua Qiong's face tightened and she hurriedly followed. Looking at their backs, Qin Feng's eyes flickered. Since ancient times, love was the most hurtful. If Li Zhuang could break through the barrier of love, there was no doubt that he would be able to soar to the sky with the Grand Demon Inverse Blade intent. He might even be able to truly master this terrifying blade technique. If he couldn't comprehend it, he would definitely be trapped by the Grand Demon Inverse Blade intent and degenerate into a demon. Qin Feng couldn't help Li Zhuang with this matter. With a slight sigh, Qin Feng followed and left All Stars College. The Mystic Association branch, in the capital of stars, was not far from All Stars College. A few hundred steps away, Qin Feng appeared on this bustling street. There was an endless stream of people and carriages around him. The shops on both sides of the street were neat and imposing. The street was filled with a bustling atmosphere. The first thing that caught his eye was the simple and majestic blacksmith guild. On the other side was the alchemist guild. After dozens of steps, Qin Feng saw the Mystic Association under construction at the corner of the intersection. Many craftsmen were walking in and out, carrying wood and stone materials. "Young master!" Suddenly, a familiar surprised voice sounded. Qin Feng turned around. His red clothes fluttered and a fragrant wind blew over. Qin Feng took the opportunity to hug the young lady's slim figure. "Originally, there were 2 updates in the afternoon, but I slept for a few hours after taking a nap. So the 3rd update will be at night. Please recommend it. Please add it." Chapter 238. Capital of Stars, in the temporary courtyard of the Mystic Association. The morning fog had yet to dissipate, and faint sunlight shone through the dense branches and leaves in the courtyard, speckling the center of the courtyard. Bang! 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 The wind from her fists whistled, causing the air to vibrate. A young girl's delicate shout came from the courtyard. The wind from her fists was like the breathing of a savage beast, heavy and powerful. Occasionally, it would explode with an explosive sound. Her movements were vigorous, like a crane standing on a pine tree, graceful and agile. Especially her 4 limbs and cervical vertebrae, when they opened and closed, they were like a bow full of power. Her breathing was like a drawn bow, and her punches were like arrows. Her fists and feet were light and swift, displaying her solid foundation. Not bad, not bad. Red Lotus, you've reached the perfection stage of the first heaven of martial arts, tendon refining, in just over 10 days. Even though this young master's medicinal soup played a part, Your own comprehension and hard work accounted for most of the reason. Worthy of encouragement. A deep and magnetic voice sounded in the courtyard. It's all thanks to young master's nurturing. A red figure flashed, and the young girl appeared behind the black-robed youth with lowered brows. She massaged the black-robed youth's shoulders as joy flashed across her beautiful eyes. The young girl was becoming more and more alluring. She was dressed in red and had a hot and tall figure. Her eyes and brows had already matured, revealing a trace of peerless beauty. If not for the dark red birthmark on her face, the Mystic Association would have long been overcrowded. Even so, some of the manservants passing by the courtyard still couldn't help but look at the young girl with burning gazes. This little girl is quite good at flattery. Qin Feng smiled lazily as he enjoyed Red Lotus's massage with a leisurely expression. It was already the 10th day of his reunion with Red Lotus. Qin Feng had been staying in the temporary residence of the Mystic Association. Apart from cultivating, he had been enlightening his little maidservant on the martial path. Qin Feng narrowed his eyes and leaned against the rocking chair as he thought to himself. As expected of the blood fiend lady. Her aptitude is extraordinary. She actually went from an ordinary person to the first firmament of martial Tao in 10 days. If news of this cultivation's speed were to spread, those fellows who think they're geniuses would probably bang their heads against a wall. Qin Feng clearly knew that he had spent a lot of effort to break through to the first firmament of martial Tao back then. In fact, he even used some of the precious medicinal recipes that he kept at the bottom of his chest. Red Lotus, on the other hand, had only relied on a set of ordinary white crane refining fist to break through the first heaven of the martial Tao. This speed was simply shocking. Although this has something to do with the decoctions I made, Red Lotus' aptitude is indeed terrifying. The blood fiend woman is truly incredible. Although his heart was shaken, Qin Feng's expression remained unchanged. He spoke frankly and frankly. The first 3 stages of the martial path are the best time to train your muscles and bones. Now, Red Lotus, you have completed the first sky of the martial path. Next, you can start to enter the second sky of the martial path. I have an extremely high-quality bone-forging secret technique called the Spirit Snake Jade Bone Fist. This is a set of fist techniques that I simplified from a set of high-level Spirit Martial Realm fist technique, the Spirit Snake Demon Fist. If you can Deshang, your entire body's bones will be like dragons and snake. The morning sun shone on the courtyard. Master and servant, one taught diligently, and the other learned diligently. There was a faint warmth in the atmosphere. At this moment, the sound of hurried footsteps came from outside the door. Ta-ta-ta. Not long after, the figure of a black-faced man hurriedly appeared in the courtyard. Qin Shou, what's the matter? With one hand correcting Red Lotus's wrong posture and explaining the mysteries of the Spirit Snake Jade Bone Fist, Qin Feng turned his head to look at the black-faced man. With sweat dripping from his forehead, Qin Shou lowered his head and said hurriedly, "Young master, I have some news about the matter you asked me to inquire about. There are many powerful second-year warriors in the 5 Elements team. This time, other than Wolf King Zhao Xianmeng, there are many other famous warriors participating in this year's Hidden Dragon Point competition. The more famous ones are Tiger King Li Heihu, Panther King Wang Dong, and Ghost King Wu Ying. These people are all top-class warriors in the 5 Elements team. Their fame is no less than Zhao Xuanmeng's. Also, through the 100 Beasts secret technique, I found out that there are a few other groups of people who are trying to harm young master." Qin Shou's face was filled with a trace of anger. Qin Feng waved his hand. "This is all within my expectations. The head of the Green Dragon team is not that easy to sit on. It's normal for them to have some ideas. However, your young master is not someone to be trifled with. When the time comes, it's still unknown who will take care of who. All Stars College is full of undercurrents and treacherous clouds. The Hidden Dragon Point competition has yet to begin, but all kinds of murderous intentions have already been hidden. In addition, the rewards for this year's Hidden Dragon Point competition have also been announced. Apart from the black iron armor, the first place will be rewarded with 10,000 points and 200 merit points. These rewards are not bad. Qin Feng's eyes lit up. Qin Feng did not care about the 10,000 points. What moved Qin Feng was the 200 merit points. Qin Feng was currently a level 5 inner disciple. If he could earn 100 merit points, he could apply to the Medicine King Hall and directly be promoted to a level 6 deacon disciple. If he could be promoted to a level 7 deacon, Qin Feng's status would automatically be promoted to a mountain lord. Qin Feng's current status was the cave master of the Scarlet Sky Peaks Jade Water Cave. As a cave master, Qin Feng was only temporarily managing the Scarlet Sky Peaks Jade Water Cave. If he could be promoted to a mountain lord, his authority as a cave master would be further promoted, and he would have more authority over the Scarlet Sky Peak. For example, he could set up his own herb garden or change the feng shui of the Scarlet Sky Peak. The benefits of this were immeasurable. This meant that Qin Feng was one step closer to completely taking over the Scarlet Sky Peak. Above the Mountain Lord, there was still the Mansion Master. The Mansion Master could set up his own mansion and completely take over the Scarlet Sky Peaks Jade Water Cave. He didn't even need to contribute any of the spiritual herbs in the Spiritual Mountain Blessed Land to the sect. Any spiritual herbs in the Spiritual Mountain would belong to the Mansion Master. The Mansion Master could even set up his own mansion and take over some of the smaller Spiritual Mountain Blessed Lands in the vicinity, becoming a small feudal lord. At this point, he was already close to completely taking control of this Spiritual Mountain Blessed Land. If he could take another step forward, he would be able to truly take over the Scarlet Sky Peaks Jade Water Cave and turn it into a true foundation. This was a hidden opportunity that only belonged to the first seats, which was hidden in the various peaks and mountains. One must know that in the Xingqian school, some inner disciples might not even be able to own their own spiritual mountain blessed land. Various thoughts flashed through Qin Feng's mind as Qin Shou narrated the various details of the Hidden Dragon Points competition. The rewards for the second and third place are 5,000 points and 100 contribution points. The rewards for the fourth to sixth place are 3,000 points and 50 contribution points. The rewards for the 7th to 10th place are 1,000 points and 20 contribution points. After the 10th place, those within the 30th place will only be awarded 300 points. Qin Feng nodded inwardly. The rewards for the All-Stars College's Hidden Dragon Points competition were extraordinarily generous. No wonder it attracted so many geniuses, especially the reward for the first place. Not to mention the nearly exaggerated 10,000 points and 200 contribution points, the black iron battle armor was also very covetous. If one could obtain the black iron battle armor, the cultivation speed of the art of mixed origin stars would increase by at least 3 to 4 times. It seems that all the heads of the various houses have arrived this time. Young Lord's guess is correct. All the heads of the various houses have arrived upon hearing the news. The 2 chiefs and countless experts of the 4 houses are all sharpening their swords. The All-Stars College's Hidden Dragon Points competition will officially begin 3 days later. Seeking recommendation votes, seeking collection. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.